during the elections, not a bitter word. Obviously, in politics, when you're political opponents, you attack each other, but that personal bitterness was never ever there to see. And I think they maintained that maryada, they maintained that decorum, that grief you're going to see writ large on the faces of Sharad Pawar's extended family, that of Supriya Sule, and just about everyone. I mean, everyone acknowledged the fact that Ajit Pawar had come out of the shadows of Sharad Pawar. But to quickly go back to the procedure, the Speaker of the House is, of course, informed as the Vice President, as the Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. The government then takes on the moment from there. We are going to wait for the first official word, which is going to come in from the Maharashtra government, from the central government. But of course, it's confirmed by Lokman, by the DGCA statement, and we're waiting for the official statement, of course, to come across.
Yes, News 18 Marathi, as well as, of course, the DGCA, unofficially telling us that Mr. Ajit Pawar is no more. This is a very, very sad day, of course, for the political class, as well as, of course, a large number of residents of Baramati. Ajit Pawar, of course, served this constituency and the surrounding areas for years altogether. The Pawars are a very influential family in the Maharashtra firmament, also, of course, nationally. So this is huge news. And of course, it jogs our memory back to all those other instances when major political leaders have met with unfortunate deaths in crashes, sometimes chopper crashes. In this particular case, it was an Embraer jet that has crashed into this desolation, as you can see, resulting in a complete evisceration of the plane and the fuselage. So from the very beginning, it was looking very unlikely that anyone would have survived this catastrophe. This is, of course, the second major air accident to have taken place in the last 6 months. Of course, the passenger plane from Ahmedabad that took off for London, that crashed and that shook a lot of people. And this, of course, is going to bring back those memories. Of course, no one quite knows what led to this particular crash. Was it weather? Was it instrumental failure? Was it error? We have absolutely no confirmation of that. That's all going to be sort of revealed over time. But what you can see here are visuals from about an hour and a half back, viewers. These visuals are being relayed and they tell you a story of utter devastation. In the top left-hand corner of your screens, and Pallavi is still there with us, we're also going to try and bring Aman into this conversation and others to get really a sense of the reactions that are coming across the political firmament to this accident. But on the left top-hand corner of your screens, you can see a body that is obviously been thrown out of that particular aircraft from the fuselage. It's been covered in a blue sheet, and there are a huge number of policemen milling around that site. Of course, first responders there trying to douse the flames. There are a large number of villagers also that have collected around this particular area. To the right of your screens, of course, the aftermath, where you can see a number of rescue vehicles coming through. And there to the left, top on the left are these pictures coming straight from the hospital. Viewers, that's the hospital, the local hospital, where, of course, the remains of Ajit Pawar would have been taken. And, of course, those others, unfortunates who have been on that flight, 5 others were on that plane with him. So a total of 6 people were being told. At least these are the estimates that are coming through as of now. Of course, all of this is fluid information. But what we can confirm is that Mr. Ajit Pawar, Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, a pillar of that government, has passed away in this horrific catastrophe that has shattered the obviously the emotional chord of a large number of people. There to the left of your screens was the last image really of Mr. Ajit Pawar. He was on a constituency visit this morning in Baramati, and he was taking off presumably to return to Delhi to attend Parliament, or perhaps even just to hold consultation, or even go back to Mumbai. We don't quite know where he was headed, but there is speculation about that. He was definitely in Baramati, and we do know that being the Deputy Chief Minister, he has, of course, a role which is larger and beyond the state. But nonetheless, we don't quite know where he was headed. Was he coming out to Delhi? Was he actually traveling back to Mumbai? No one quite knows as of now. But those are the pictures from last year. That was the big Mahayuti that came together after the 2024 elections. Of course, it was a pre-poll alliance. Everyone in the political circles was absolutely shocked and surprised when Ajit Pawar had decided to break from his uncle Sharad Pawar and form his own outfit and join, of course, the BJP and the NDA. And there you can see to the left of your screens pictures coming out from inside the ambulance that is now carrying the remains of the people who were on board that aircraft. We can't quite confirm whether this is, of course, the body of Mr. Ajit Pawar, given the fact that this body has been shrouded by a cloth. But what we can tell you is, of course, that the rescue services have confirmed that there are no survivors. 5 people aside of Mr. Ajit Pawar have passed away. These are the fresh details that are coming through. I just want to go straight across to Arunima. Arunima, what can you tell us? If you're there with us, give us a perspective of what you're hearing from your sources. I'm sure that over the next few hours, there's going to be an inquiry and a board that is going to be set up. The DGCA will, of course, be once again under the lens in unfortunate circumstances.
Yes, so the information coming in from authorities is that, at around 8:45, 8:50, the 6-seater aircraft, which is a chartered plane, took off for Baramati. And the Baramati landing strip, it's an irony that, as recently as 15th of October 2025, Ajit Pawar had actually, in a meeting, taken it up with authorities for extension of the Baramati landing strip, for allowing its expansion, for allowing night landing facility, and he had asked for the detailed project report to be handed over. As far as weather conditions are concerned, even though authorities here in Delhi say that a detailed report is awaited, they say it was a bright sunny day in Baramati. Usually, smaller aircraft struggle if weather conditions are adverse, but that does not seem to be a factor here. So authorities are still awaiting a detailed report from the ground as to actually what went wrong. But Ajit Pawar was travelling because there were Zilla Parishad elections in Baramati. He wanted to be there. This is the home turf of the Pawar family, and he wanted to be there when the Zilla Parishad elections were happening, galvanizing his cadre. That was the reason he was travelling. One is still waiting for the authorities to confirm exactly what happened, leading to this unfortunate crash and subsequent fire. And what sources here in Delhi tell us is that it was the fire which left, no chances for any survival. The entire plane, everyone on board was just engulfed in the fire, which started after the crash happened.
Yes, those pictures, of course, are absolutely devastating coming in from Baramati this morning, viewers. It is a scene that no one expected to wake up to. Least of all, of course, the Pawar family, which is obviously bereaved right now. We're being told that they're rushing to Baramati to obviously take a complete and obvious grip on the situation. But those pictures there on the left of your screens, viewers, are of several constituents, supporters of Ajit Pawar, that are now at this hospital. This is a major development. I just want to go back to Pallavi for just a few moments. We see in the middle of our screens, of course, Mr. in other times, and on the right, of course, the wreckage from the crash. And those are the pictures that tell you just how devastating the impact might have been. Arunima, this is looking extremely bad. This crash obviously taking place at a time which was most unexpected. That, of course, is an obvious statement, but from the wreckage, it shows that the plane was coming hurtling down to the ground. We would, of course, connect to a few experts, but Arunima, just talk us through these pictures. These pictures tell us a story.
Yes, so it looks like, it was a smaller aircraft, like I was telling you. Was the weather a factor? Prima facie, if you look at the weather in Baramati today, what authorities are saying that it was a bright sunny day. So did weather in any way play any role? Prima facie, the authorities are still struggling to understand what went wrong. A detailed technical report will be sought. The wreckage from the ground will be analyzed. And once again, it takes you back to the nightmare of what we saw. Of course, it was a bigger aircraft. There were far more civilian casualties. But what happened in Ahmedabad, again, the authorities are saying that, in this case also, we will have to look at the wreckage to figure out, because it looked like that the pilot had lost control and the way the chartered aircraft crashed, it immediately, was on fire, giving very little chance for anyone to come out of the wreckage and survive. And these pictures that we are putting out for our viewers, I think are testimony to what sources here in Delhi, in DGCA, in civil aviation are telling us. A detailed investigation will of course be done, but prima facie that is the detail with which the authorities here are coming out with. Essentially what they are saying after their primary investigation and speaking to primary sources on the ground is that this was a Learjet aircraft is called Learjet 45, and it had taken off with 5 people including crew members. Personal security officials of Ajit Pawar were also on board, and it took off at about 8:45. And within minutes it had crashed in Baramati. There's no official word as yet as to what went wrong. Was it a technical failure? What was the reason that the pilot lost control? But the visuals that we have tells you that the fire really left no chance for anyone, even if they were injured. The fire really left them with no chance of escaping the wreckage.
Arunima, just stay on with me. I want to go straight across to Anvit also to get a sense from him about the DGCA's perspective on this. And we're going to ask the director Saab to actually keep all the visuals of the crash at the bottom of the screens and also make the windows of the guests more aligned to the right of the screen or the left of the screen and smaller, so that maximum primacy can be given to the visuals as we are seeing them. But Anvit, what are you hearing from the DGCA even as we speak with these visuals devastating? We're now being told that this was actually a Learjet and not an Embraer. Can you confirm?
Yes, Rahul, it is confirmed. We spoke to DGCA top officials and they've confirmed that this was a Learjet aircraft, and this is a 6 to 8 seater aircraft, and we've been told that it took off around 8:10, and 9:12 is when the ATC got the confirmation that the jet has crashed. Now we have also received an official confirmation from the DGCA that have said that there were 5 people on board. It says that aircraft landed at Baramati, and during the landing it was that the aircraft crashed. It crash landed, and Ajit Pawar along with 2 of his more personnel and PSOs and 1 attendant and 2 crew were on board. It also goes on to say that as per initial information, no person on board has survived the crash. That confirms that Ajit Pawar was on board, and that it also confirms that none of them have survived the crash. We are learning that the teams of DGCA are also on their way to the location, and they'll soon be there, and this certainly will go into a detailed inquiry. But important to note here that Learjet, NTSB had also recently, because in Feb last year also in Philadelphia also one jet had crashed killing 7 people. It was also a Learjet. So NTSB had also issued warnings regarding the landing gear of this plane recently, around 3 to 4 months ago, and that is also something that was being looked into. So technical aspects of this will also be looked into as to what could be the reason, but currently DGCA is restricting itself to saying that there was probably some technical issue that led to this crash, and it was, we are being told that it was while attempting a landing that it could not be a proper landing, and it crash landed, and that is why it went up to flames and killing all the 5 people on board.
So you're suggesting that there was an attempt by the pilot to land this aircraft, and that perhaps explains why this is an open field where this particular crash has taken place. So there was an attempt, according to Anvit, quoting DGCA sources, that the pilot was trying to land this plane, but unfortunately it did not work out as per his plan. And you can see from the site and the devastation there that the plane and anyone else who were aboard that, including Mr. Ajit Pawar, had very slim chances of escaping the fire that engulfed the plane soon after. And you can see the smoking plumes of fire still rising to the right of your screens. You can see to the bottom of your screens a large number of constituents and supporters of Mr. Ajit Pawar accompanying his mortal remains and perhaps those of the others to this hospital, where they will, of course, be kept in the morgue. And, of course, there will have to be a post-mortem. And there will, of course, also be a prayer sabha very soon that will be organized. And that's one of the reasons why the Pawar family is also headed to Baramati as we speak. Arunima, fundamentally, this particular area is an area that the Pawars had been nursing for many, many decades altogether, in fact, throughout their political careers. So the people of Baramati must be in an extended state of absolute shock, because there was a lot of love for the family.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Baramati is like synonymous with the Pawar family. And like, all my colleagues too have been reporting, if Sharad Pawar was the initial name with which Baramati resonated, Ajit Pawar carved his own path too. Even when the split happened between NCP Sharad Pawar and NCP, which was led by Ajit Pawar, people were initially skeptical. But as the electoral results showed, Ajit Pawar had managed to win over the Baramati constituents and the neighboring areas in large parts of Maharashtra on his own. For him to have lost his life in such an unfortunate way at a time when already the cadre was geared up for the Zilla Parishad elections, the shock of Baramati residents is something that has to be seen to be believed. But the Sharad Pawar family is together in this hour of grief. The entire family, Parliament first day in session, Supriya Sule's residence here in Delhi. As soon as the news came in, all the NCP leaders rushed there. And now they're all rushing to Mumbai, from where they'll move towards Baramati. Silver Oak is the residence of Sharad Pawar. So I think that's where the entire Pawar family is moving from there towards Baramati. Very, very unfortunate. And the visuals, once again, I want to refer to, because what authorities are pointing out that, this is the most unfortunate way for anybody to lose his life, because it seems that the remains are completely charred. The fire did not give anyone a chance, and it looks like that the pilot lost control in a way that after the crash landing there was hardly any time, even if there was any injury, the injured had no chance really to escape the wreckage.
Come back to you both. I want to go across to Rohit Chandravakar, who's of course a very senior journalist joining us from Maharashtra for more on this. Mr. Chandravakar, obviously a very sad moment to be speaking to you. Ajit Pawar no more, passed away in this horrible, devastating crash. What are your first thoughts, and put his legacy, his career into perspective for some of us here? Rohit ji, can you hear me? This is Rahul Shivshankar. Can you hear me? Okay, we're going to try and connect with Rohit ji in just a few moments. But let me just bring in Anvit. Anvit, very quickly, just talk us through the kind of plane this was. We are told it's a Learjet, obviously used for commercial purposes. But before I just come to you, let me just bring back Rohit into this broadcast. Rohit, thank you very much. Senior journalist joining us from Maharashtra, somebody who knows the politics in and out of the state. And not just that, but also Ajit Pawar and the Pawar family. A very, very, very devastating loss for the Pawar family and, of course, the people of Maharashtra. The Deputy Chief Minister, no more, passed away in unfortunate circumstances. Talk us through a little bit about the legacy, the life of Ajit Pawar's contributions, and of course, what this actually means now in the larger context.
That's correct. Maharashtra has woken up to a shock, I must say. This is really very shocking, totally unexpected thing. A person, a leader who kept himself physically very fit, we used to travel a lot, and, just ahead of the district council polls, which are happening in the first, second week of February, very crucial polls for Ajit Pawar. He was traveling in his home territory, that is Baramati in Pune district, for campaigning for the district council. Sudden, this Learjet crash that has happened while attempting landing at Baramati airport. And remember, Baramati has a wide, good quality runway, because there is a big aviation academy that runs at Baramati. And all equipment for landing, including ILS and everything, is installed there. At this place, there has not been any such incident in the past. We've just got the news that the aircraft has crashed while landing, and there are no survivors. Ajit Pawar's role in developing Baramati, especially in Pune district, his hometown, has been huge. It's really ironical that his life ended at that very airport, which he himself took a lead in developing. This incident is going to affect the local elections that are coming up in Maharashtra in a major way. Huge shock for the Pawar family, because remember, senior Pawar, that is Sharad Pawar, was in a phase just a few weeks ago where he almost announced that he's taking a back seat. and the NCP, both factions of the Nationalist Congress Party, kind of united for the recently held municipal elections in Maharashtra. So it was clear that that both factions will be now led by relatively younger Ajit Pawar. And Supriya Sule and Ajit Pawar worked together in the recent municipal polls in Pune and Pimpri-Chinchwad and other areas in Western Maharashtra, also in Mumbai. Now they were working together on campaigning and other things for the upcoming district polls. This incident, of course, has come as a shock, not just to this almost, you can call it, first family of Maharashtra politics, but also to party cadre, also to NCP, and also to citizens of Baramati and Pune district who were followers of Ajit Pawar and supporters of Ajit Pawar. This will make a huge impact on politics in Western Maharashtra.
Okay, well, there's some news coming in. Rohitji, stay on with me. I'm going to bring in Arunima, where I believe that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, has called the family of Mr. Ajit Pawar and expressed their condolences. Can you just take us over some of those details, Arunima?
Yes, so it looks like both the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister have spoken to Devendra Fadnavis. They've had a phone call after confirmation that Ajit Pawar was on that ill-fated charter plane. Both the Prime Minister and the Home Minister have been briefed by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra about whatever information is available at this stage. The information as being reported by authorities is that, you know, the plane tried to land at Baramati airstrip, but it looked like that the pilot had lost all control and it crash landed, and immediately after the crash landing the wreckage was on fire. So the Home Minister and the Prime Minister have been given this briefing, we are told by sources, by the Chief Minister, steps that are being taken to ensure that the Pawar family, whatever help is required to reach Baramati. Supporters of Ajit Pawar, family members of Ajit Pawar, Bharatiya Janata Party's alliance partner Ajit Pawar was in alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So there is a possibility that even though Parliament is in session, senior leadership could be present there when the final rites are carried out. And that briefing by Chief Minister of Maharashtra to Home Minister and Prime Minister has just taken into account as to what can be done currently to just help the Pawar family in this huge hour of grief.
Yes, of course. This is going to have repercussions beyond just the state of Maharashtra and, of course, Baramati. National leaders of parties that have influence nationally. This is a completely different scenario. The last major accident involving a top Maharashtra politician was Gopinath Munde, if my memory serves me right, and Rohit might correct me there, but that was a news that came out of nowhere, and it also spun at that point in time into a major political news event because Mr. Munde was, of course, a very, very influential grassroots leader. So is Ajit Pawar. He's a very influential leader with a wide base, major support base, and, of course, the face of the NCP movement, which now will be, of course, under stress because he had formed his own political party. What happens to that faction? Will there be a reorientation, realignment? Of course, all very premature to talk about all of that right now. But fundamentally, viewers, there are going to be ripples across the political spectrum on the back of this unfortunate event. I want to go straight across to Anvit. Anvit, what are the details that are emerging? You were talking about the make of the aircraft, a special pilots required to have special qualifications to fly the aircraft in question, the Learjet. It's a commercial plane. Many businessmen own it. Many prominent people across the world own it. It flies at great speeds. It's smaller than, of course, normal commercial airliners, but it is a very effective aircraft. And you can see on the left of your screens, huge number of supporters there grieving, mourning the passing of Mr. Ajit Pawar. Anvit, over to you.
Right, Rahul, see, this aircraft is usually used for regional connectivity, and Barmer and Mumbai also have roughly about 250 kilometers of distance, and that is probably why this aircraft was preferred. And we are also learning from the sources that there are certain issues with this aircraft also. And previously, last year there was an accident in Philadelphia also, and there have been incidents in 2005 also, and previously in 2001 as well regarding this particular aircraft. And therefore, there have been warnings that have been issued, and not just one model. This was Learjet 45. There have been warnings on 60, 28 and many other models of Learjet, and mainly the problem was with the landing gear, which probably it's being said that usually either collapsed or malfunctioned while attempting landing, and that is the problem that probably appears to be possibly it subject to detailed inquiry though, but because the officials are saying that the incident took place while attempting a landing, so there could be a reason that probably this the same defect played in here as well, but that's certainly subject to detailed investigation. Now we are learning from the sources in DGCA and Airport Authority of India that teams will certainly reach the spot, and there will be multiple layers of investigation that will be started, because this is a plane crash. So the team that will reach, they will certainly start with studying the wreckage distribution of the plane which has landed, so which has crash landed. So it will tell them as to in what was the roughly about speed, because FDR will also be, flight data recorder will also be retrieved, and black box will also be retrieved. So it will give information about what actual situation was the aircraft in its last moment. Also a cockpit voice recorder and the conversation of the pilots in the last moment with the ATC, whether they had conveyed that there is a problem with the landing gear, whether they had conveyed any other problem, what was the last moment communication, that also will be looked into. Other than that, entire wreckage distribution will be studied, and topography and weather condition in the last moment will also be read to identify what could have led to this issue, whether any external force led to it, or there could be a technical aspect that led to this crash. So a detailed investigation will be done. We are learning that officers from DGCA will reach there shortly. Mostly local authorities have already reached the spot, and senior officials are also on their way. As far as the aircraft is concerned, it's a small aircraft, 6 to 8 seater. We are being told 5 people were on board. We are being told officially by the DGCA that has issued a statement saying that none of them have survived, and they have also confirmed that Ajit Pawar was on board the plane. Further, if we talk about this incident, we are also learning that probably those who were to take the flight, they were also informed about some technicality on this plane, but that certainly is the details will come on later, and it will be premature to talk about that. But yeah, certainly there have been issues with this aircraft, and this was also a Learjet 45 that took off from Mumbai around 8:10, roughly a distance covering a distance of roughly about 250 kilometers, and around 9:12 it was that ATC was finally informed that the flight has crashed, and it has went up to flames, and none of the 5 on board have survived the crash.
Well, viewers, if you're just tuning in, let me quickly sum up what has been happening before I bring in Rohit Chandrakar and also, of course, Arunima. What you're seeing on your screens, viewers, is the devastating aftermath of a plane crash that has taken place. Learjet has crashed into the firmament in Baramati district of Maharashtra, which also happens to be the home turf of the Pawar family. Aboard this Learjet were 6 individuals, including the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Ajit Pawar. The visuals that you're seeing are of the aftermath of the wreckage. You can still see the wreckage burning in the fields, in the open fields, after the pilot tried to attempt a forced landing. Why this was done, we don't quite know. Was it a technical issue? Was there any other unrelated factor? We can't confirm as of now. But the fuselage pictures show that there's a tail fin which has survived, but the rest of the fuselage, including the engines, just about every other component of this aircraft has been reduced to ashes. We're also being told that all individuals on board, including Mr. Ajit Pawar, have lost their lives in this very unfortunate, devastating air crash, which has shocked the country, coming as it is on the back of another air crash that shook, in fact, all of us, all Indians across the board, when an Air India flight had crashed right after takeoff in Ahmedabad. And these pictures are bringing back those memories and are, of course, flooding our conscience, because air accidents are rare. And when they do happen, usually there are attendant devastating consequences. And here, unfortunately, there are no survivors. Ajit Pawar has passed away this morning. We're being told that at 9:12 this morning, ATS received information of the crash. The plane took off from Mumbai at about 8:10, so about 45 minutes to an hour later, it crashed. And it crashed as it was attempting to land in Baramati. Let me just open this up, because if you've just joined this broadcast, we're being told that the Pawar family is rushing to Baramati. We're showing you pictures from outside the hospital, where, of course, thousands of the Pawar family supporters have congregated to mourn the passing of Ajit Pawar. I also want to bring in Payal, who's reporting on the DGCA aspect of this and the inquiries going forward. And right after, I'll bring in Rohit Chandrakar, senior journalist who knows a lot about Maharashtra and how this is going to perhaps impact not just Maharashtra politics, but national level politics too. Payal, over to you.
Yes, what we do understand, Rahul, from the DGCA is that they're going to be setting up an inquiry as far as that is concerned. And the black box will essentially be holding the key as far as this investigation really goes to understand what really happened. But what the DGCA has been able to tell us that right at the start of the runway, there was a crash landing that the aircraft did, and the aircraft immediately burst into flames as well. And that is something which they have really right now. But it is a matter of investigation to find out, because if that happened because of any technicality, or if that happened because of lack of fuel, etc. So nothing is being ruled out as of now. An inquiry certainly will be ordered. But like I said, the black box will certainly hold the key. And the DGCA has already begun to assess to see what really caused this crash landing at this juncture.
As possible, because as you know, viewers, first responders would have rescued all of those who needed to be, and of course recovered the body parts, etc., and the remains of those that did not make it. And as of now, I'm not trying to hazard a guess because miracles do happen, but from all the indications coming from the ground, it does appear that there are no survivors. And those devastating pictures tell you the story really of just how improbable the prospect of anyone making it through. But miracles do happen. But these are pictures that are coming from the capital, New Delhi, where a large number of people are now congregating at Ajit Pawar's home in the union capital, or perhaps residents of the Pawar family, maybe the residents of Supriya Sule. We'll try to get you more updates on that. But those are pictures of those who are coming to obviously extend their condolences to the Pawar family. The Pawar family will be leaving very soon for Baramati to also, of course, conduct the last rites. It is in Baramati that the Pawars founded their political ambitions, and it is in Baramati that one of them has met his end in very, very grievous circumstances. Mr. Chandrakar, put this into perspective for us. A massive blow. I think Gopinath Munde was the last leader to have passed away under untoward circumstances, and he was a mass roots leader. And of course, Mr. Ajit Pawar is no less in influence. And of course, he's the Deputy Chief Minister, current Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra.
Rahul, just to give you a perspective, this is such a big shock for everybody in Maharashtra, especially those connected to politics or those who are following politics, those who get affected by politics, mainly because Ajit Pawar was seen as a person who's survived in politics all through last 30 years. Remember, Ajit Pawar first got elected in 1991 from the Lok Sabha constituency of Baramati in Pune district. And he served a full term in Lok Sabha as a new entrant, as Maharashtra stalwart Sharad Pawar's nephew. That was his first term. And ever since, he has not lost a single election. He moved to the state assembly. He moved from national politics to state politics after his first term in Lok Sabha. And ever since, he has grown and only grown in Maharashtra, except for the period between 1995 and 1999, when BJP and Shiv Sena was in power in Maharashtra, and Ajit Pawar and his party had to sit in the opposition, except for those 5 years. And then later, of course, during Devendra Fadnavis's era of 2014 to 2019, except for these two terms, Ajit Pawar has been in power throughout. He's been Maharashtra Chief Minister, Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister under various UPA regime as well as BJP's NDA regime. And he presented 10 budgets, annual budgets of Maharashtra government in the state assembly as Maharashtra Finance Minister. He used to tell us very proudly that he's perhaps the only one. He's in fact the only finance minister who got to present 10 annual budgets of Maharashtra government in Maharashtra Assembly. On personal front, I can tell you that he was very reticent with media, not really forthcoming, but very accessible to the public and his karyakartas and his activists. Also known to be very conscious about keeping himself physically fit. He was a teetotaler, did not smoke, and always kept telling everybody around him, how it is important to be physically fit. He always started his day very early in the morning and worked till about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night every day, and traveled a lot and was very efficient in his work. There were some controversies in which he was involved. Obviously, many allegations that were leveled by the BJP during election season, especially, but he survived through that. And politically speaking, I can tell you that Ajit Pawar is known to all of us, was, I should say, very unfortunately, we have to say, Ajit Pawar was now known to us as a political survivor. You may have a Congress government in Maharashtra, you may have a BJP government in Maharashtra, you may have a Shiv Sena government in Maharashtra, and what you saw was this political survivor was always part of that government throughout in the last 30 years or so, 3 decades. Ajit Pawar was 67 years old, came from political family. I can't call it humble background because his uncle Sharad Pawar was already an established politician and doing very well in Maharashtra politics when Ajit Pawar entered politics as a youngster. So he had that legacy and he built on it. Worked very hard. Of course, there were some controversial things that were talked about him in terms of his involvement in some financial irregularities. Those allegations were also there in his public life, but he survived through all that and was, we were looking at him as, a good performer. Unfortunately, last few months, in the recent municipal polls and in the Nagar Parishad or city council polls that happened before the municipal polls, Ajit Pawar's party did not score too well. His party did reasonably well in the city council polls in Baramati and Pune area, but in the municipal polls, his performance was not too good in Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad, which were his bastions, both the municipal corporations. But he was looking at bouncing back in the upcoming district council, Zilla Parishad polls, which are happening in February, and was building his campaign. And that's exactly for what he was traveling from Mumbai to Baramati this morning. The incident has shocked, people majorly. And I'm sure all politicians, including Maharashtra's top politicians and perhaps some from Delhi, will be now reaching Baramati for the proceedings that we can expect in Baramati, Ajit Pawar's hometown, Rahul.
Of course, he also enjoyed immense, as Rohit is telling us, cross-party support. So this is not a leader who was confined to one particular side of the political fence. He had friends all across. The Pawars, very influential. The Pawars are a family that have shaped Indian politics for very, very long, played the role of even kingmaker in different capacities in the past. So this is a very influential family, friends across the political segment. Expect a large number of MPs from Parliament over the next few days to arrive in Mumbai. There are some pictures coming of netas who are breaking down, supporters, friends. There is going to be of course, an outpouring of grief, not just in Maharashtra, but across political lines, because the Pawars very firmly entrenched, and you can see some of those leaders breaking down, trying to get through, making even messages of condolence, offering messages of condolence, but finding it very, very difficult. I want to bring in Captain Vinod, who joins us. Captain Vinod, the plane that crashed, we're being told is a Lear jet. Talk us a little bit about the Lear jet and the capabilities of those who pilot Lear jets. Do you require special licenses, any special training, etc.? Talk us through.
Rahul, a couple of things very, very clear. One is Learjet 45 XR is a very popular aeroplane amongst the small 8-seater version. And hardly any crashes at all in this particular class of aeroplane. Bombardier makes it. It cruises at very high altitude, 51,000 feet, and goes up to 3,500, 4,000 kilometers of distance. So Learjet enjoys of being one of the workhorses amongst the the low-end passenger carrying capable aeroplane. And BSR, I believe this aeroplane was being flown by the commander. Very, very senior commander. He's also in the management or one of the owners of the VSR. So there is no question that low experience was the issue. No issue of weather. I mean, Rahul, I've been looking at even a video or of a crash site. Sometimes the predictions I've given and we have done shows together has been more or less accurate. And in this case, I'm stumped for words, Rahul, because I do not think, making any kind of guess is fraught with danger. But we will come to maybe some videos will surface and we'll come to why it happened. But the question still remains how it went down. I believe the eyewitnesses are saying that before the crash, they saw a fireball on the aeroplane, which means that there could have been, an engine trouble. But again, that is hazarding a guess, which I'm currently not doing so unless we see some video, which I'm sure will surface very, very soon. And we are going to carry this forward during the course of the day. But like DGCA put out, Rahul, nobody survived. And as I can see it, nobody could have survived. And Baramati, I mean, I've been to this place many a times. It is, I wouldn't say a tabletop runway, but it is on a slightly higher elevated zone. So the point at which the aeroplane has crashed is just short of the runway, looks like. On the slopes, maybe another few feet or maybe 10 to 20 meters, it would have been on the runway. So I don't know what went wrong, how they undershot the runway. Could it be engine trouble, Rahul? Very, very difficult to say. Another important thing that is very clearly standing out is safety, that questions that we have been asking for a while is again coming under question. Rahul, I am also looking at the social media. Conspiracy theories a lot are flying around. So even though
Captain, let's just keep that out. I don't really want to get into all of that. That is, social media is the sewer of this country. But the fundamental aspects of this, viewers, is that the plane met with a high impact. There's no doubt about that. You can see the devastation, the charred fuselage, parts of a wing that are visible at first glance, and the tail section. That's all that really survives. There's also an engine that we see that has been completely wrecked. And I want to go across to Arun Dhanta, who's reporting from straight outside the Pawar's residence in Delhi. Arun, what can you tell us? I think you're outside Mr. Sharad Pawar's residence. What's happening there? Has Mr. Sharad Pawar issued a statement? Has he come out? Is he expected to leave for Baramati, or has he left?
Well, see, Rahul, that's right. We are outside the Sharad Pawar's residence here in the national capital, 6th Janpath Road. And in fact, a short while ago, we saw that the entire family has left for Baramati. Of course, it's a very, very difficult and unfortunate, accident that happened there. And we saw flurry of leaders, member of parliaments reaching here at the residence of Sharad Pawar, meeting him, and of course Supriya Sule. There were some family members who were also here at the residence of Sharad Pawar. We saw Nishikant Dubey coming here, offering his griefings to Supriya Sule and the family. Priyanka Chaturvedi was also here. We also saw some of the MPs of NCP arriving here at the residence. But the latest, Rahul, that we can tell you is that the entire family, Supriya Sule and other family members of Ajit Pawar has left for Baramati. As we've been discussing, it's a very, very difficult time for the entire family. Ajit Dada Pawar, as he was known in Baramati, and we all know, of course, there were some issues in the family when he separated from that party. But at this point, we can understand that how difficult is a time for the entire clan, and therefore we are seeing that immediately as the news emerged.
That breakup of the party might have led to, of course, a degree of optical convulsion, but we're told that it didn't really affect the bonds within the family. Let's go straight across to Mr. Gadkari.
उनके मेरे पारिवारिक संबंध रहे, बहुत कर्मठ, अच्छा प्रशासक और विकास की दृष्टि रखने वाले ऐसे वो नेता थे। उनके जाने से बहुत बड़ा नुकसान हुआ है। उनके परिवार को भी काफ़ी उनके ऊपर भी एक बड़ा हादसा हुआ है। मुझे लगता है कि भगवान उनको ये जो घटना हुई है इसका दुख सहन करने की ताकत दे। मैं व्यक्तिगत रूप से और पार्टी के तरफ से महाराष्ट्र के इस पुराने सहयोगियों को मैं श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ। भगवान उनके आत्मा को शांति दे, यही ईश्वर चरणों में प्रार्थना करता हूँ। नमस्कार।
Straight across to Anand Narasimhan, who joins us this morning, 10:30 a.m., looking very, very grim today. The pictures that are coming through from Baramati, Anand, this is very unexpected. We all woke up to this tragedy, devastating pictures from the ground. And I can tell you, viewers, at 10:30, if you're just tuning in before I hand it across to Anand Narasimhan, who joins us, let me just give you a quick overview. What you're seeing are pictures to the right of your screens of a Learjet that crashed in Baramati, just short of the Baramati airport. It was carrying 6 people aboard, including the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Ajit Pawar. This crash took place just before 9 o'clock in the morning. ATC was informed shortly after at about 10 past 9. This is what the information we're getting from our DGCA sources. Let me go straight across to Milind Deora, who is, of course, the leader of the Shiv Sena. Mr. Deora, you worked and you knew Mr. Ajit Pawar, Dada as he was called, Ajit Dada as he was called, a leader who enjoyed a huge, huge connect across political lines. Your first reactions, your comments?
Well, absolutely. I knew him for many, many decades. He knew my late father as well. He was part of the United Congress before the NCP split in 1999. And I mean, many things come to mind, but the first reaction is, of course, just the same shock that everyone shares, people in Maharashtra, people in the country, people who knew him, people who knew about his work. My condolences to his family. And I just remember him as somebody who was he was always known from his early days when he first got into politics and into electoral politics, became a minister until today while he was Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. He was known as a very able administrator. He was someone who knew how to get things done very efficiently. That is, in my opinion, certainly going to be a huge loss to the state of Maharashtra. But, more than that, the memories that come to mind are really memories of his very accessible, very affable nature. He was someone who was extremely affable at a personal level to people who knew him. Frankly, even in his public speeches, when he was talking to party workers or he was at a public program, he was someone who would, rather than give a speech, a monologue, he was really engaging in a dialogue with the people. So he was a unique politician in that sense, and it certainly is a big loss to the state of Maharashtra, to the people of Maharashtra, and frankly to national politics as well.
Milind Deora, obviously this is one of those events that will have repercussions and influence not just in Maharashtra but beyond.
I'm not sure what it's right now. My mind isn't able to sort of even think about what the political ramifications of this could be. But all I will say is that at a personal level, certainly it's a loss. At a political level, certainly it's a loss. And I really can't say what will come out of this. I just remember his affable nature, frankly. I just remember him being very friendly, being very encouraging, taking matters very seriously, but yet knowing how to shrug off certain things, which I think is important in a tough dog-eat-dog profession like politics. He had that nature where he could, deal with difficult situations in a light-headed way. And sometimes that helps, and that to me was a very unique trait. And most certainly I've seen him working. I've seen him as a minister in the past. I've seen him now as Deputy Chief Minister. In fact, I've seen him in his earlier avatar even as Deputy Chief Minister. If you went to him with a problem, a public issue, his ability to cut through the red tape, to solve it very quickly, to bring different agencies on board, get things done was very, very remarkable. It was very unique. And so his administrative skills will also be missed.
Yes, thank you very much, Minindira. Commiserations to you. Condolences, of course. Viewers, you're seeing those pictures in the middle of your screens. Devastating impact of that Learjet carrying Mr. Ajit Pawar, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Completely eviscerated aircraft. And the news shortly after that there were no survivors on board. Ajit Pawar no more. His supporters have gathered outside the Baramati hospital to pay their condolences. The Pawars are rushing to Baramati, which was, of course, the political bastion, really, of the Pawar family. Mr. Ajit Pawar won his first election to Parliament from there. And life, as they say, viewers, comes a full circle. And Mr. Pawar breathing his last on the soil of Baramati. Let me go straight across to Anand. Anand, this is a devastating blow, in fact, to the Pawar clan, to the Pawars themselves as a political family, and of course, it will have huge repercussions across the political spectrum.
Yes, Rahul, we've just got news coming through. Thanks for that. And morning to our viewers. Not a very good morning. 9:12 a.m. is when the first time that the crash was reported to the ATC. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now just expressed his condolences. He said Ajit Pawarji was a leader of the people, having a strong grassroots level connect. He was widely respected as a hard-working personality at the forefront of serving the people of Maharashtra. His understanding of administrative matters and passion for empowering the poor and downtrodden were also noteworthy. His untimely demise is very shocking and saddening. Condolences to his family and countless admirers. Om Shanti. That's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed as his condolence message on the sudden death of Ajit Pawar, son of the soil, truly son of the soil, Ajit Dada Pawar, as his followers lovingly called him, as he was even referred to within the Maharashtra polity. 66-year-old, born on the 22nd of July 1959, Ajit Pawar is seen as someone who was a very, very strong administrator. He was passionate about doing good for the people of Maharashtra, and especially within the state, beyond the elite and beyond the metros. It was in the heartland of Maharashtra that Ajit Pawar actually really persevered and worked hard and enjoyed a huge amount of equity. Irrespective of whether they were in government or in opposition, Ajit Pawar was always popular among the Marathi Manus or outside, beyond the realm of the urban areas. But he was also someone who was passionately trying to craft his legacy beyond Sharad Pawar. He was out with a point to prove that he could lead the NCP and he could steer it in a direction where there would be an era of the NCP beyond the legacy or beyond perhaps the shadows of Sharad Pawar himself. Son of the soil is what everybody called him, and in a sad turn of events, tragedy though, but he has breathed his last on his own soil, that is Baramati. He was actually heading to Baramati to address a lot of rallies, public rallies, ahead of the scheduled civic body elections in Baramati. So that was one of the Mahanagar Palikas that did not go to the polls at that point. When all about 28, 29 civic body polls were conducted simultaneously across Maharashtra, Baramati was still left, and he was out there campaigning at the grassroots, proving a point that he will be able to rest and also assert himself as someone who can follow in the footsteps and take the NCP forward. The family feud aside, the civic body elections in Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad has actually brought the family back together, and they tried to combine ranks at the civic body polls. But Ajit Pawar had a point to prove. As a Deputy Chief Minister through the COVID period when he was with Uddhav Thackeray, and also thereafter when he switched and joined the Mahayuti with the BJP and the Shiv Sena led by Eknath Shinde, Ajit Pawar was always an effective administrator, a hard-working politician who allowed his work to speak, and he spoke like the local people. He did not bother about the elitist political pragmatism, etc. But he was somebody who would always connect with the locals, always connect with the people, and always there to listen to them. Now, we've got more news coming through. Prime Minister Narendra Modi sending out his condolences, his tribute, saying he had strong grassroots level connect, and anybody and everybody in Maharashtra who understands the politics of Maharashtra will say that. We got a reaction coming in from G. Kishan Reddy.
देश के लिए, महाराष्ट्र का विकास के लिए साहस से निर्णय लेकर राजनीति में खड़ा हुआ व्यक्ति है और कभी भी किसके सामने झुका नहीं वो। महाराष्ट्र विकास होना चाहिए, महाराष्ट्र के गरीब लोगों को सेवा करना चाहिए, ऐसे निर्णय लेकर वो काम किया है। और अजित पवार के कारण, अजित पवार जी का परिवार का हो, उनका खुद का पार्टी का हो, महाराष्ट्र के लिए भी हो और एनडीए के लिए भी बहुत नुकसान है। मैं उनका परिवार को साहस देने के लिए मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ, उनका आत्मा को शांति दे।
G. Kishan Reddy also saying that he was a grassroots level leader, always passionate about the growth of Maharashtra and about the future and doing good for Maharashtra. Ajit Dada Pawar will be missed, sorely missed. The family is rushing. They were all based in Delhi. They're all rushing towards Baramati. Arun Dhanta joins us. So tributes pouring in for someone who was seen as a true son of the soil and someone who was a grassroots leader. The Prime Minister also underlining the same, even as we have pictures of a very emotional Anil Deshmukh there. Arun.
Well, that's right, Anand. Condolences are pouring in on social media. Prime Minister Modi has put out, in fact, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah. In fact, both Prime Minister and Home Minister have spoken to the family of, late Ajit Pawar. Of course, as you've been speaking about the works that he has done, it's a loss not only for the Maharashtra's politics, but for the nation's politics. He's somebody who has pan-party relationship. He was known as Ajit Dada Pawar, in his area. And in fact, right now, as we speak, Anand, I am outside the Sharad Pawar's residence. In fact, a short while ago, Supriya Sule had left from here. She will, of course, be straight away heading to Baramati. It's a very, very difficult times for the entire family. We saw, of course, there were issues amongst the family when he came out of the NCP, but still the family relationship was very much intact. In fact, when Supriya Sule left, her face was extremely in deep pain. That's what we could see in those visuals. In fact, we also saw that NCP MPs coming here, and in fact, BJP MP Nishikant Dubey, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Neeraj Shekhar, all of them had come here, met Supriya Sule, and in fact, all of them, when they came out, they didn't speak to media, but they were also very, very in deep anguish. That's something which we can see. And Ajit Dada Pawar, of course, who's known for his unique way of working, the way of especially he worked for Baramati. I myself had gone to Baramati. I saw there the kind of developments that he has done, and that's the reason why, Anand, it has always reflected in the elections that there was a clear edge to Ajit Pawar in that area. But today, of course, we lost him. Very, very unfortunate day, and the entire family is rushing for Baramati now. From here, Supriya Sule and some family members, and also Sharad Pawar from Mumbai and others will shortly be seen there in Baramati.
Despite their political differences, Arun, and to our viewers, despite their political differences, the family remained close. They did not break away family ties, and they were not adversarial. There was still a certain level of link and also proximity among the family members, and deep amount of respect between Ajit Pawar and also Supriya Sule, despite the tussle that who would be the political legatee of Sharad Pawar. Now we got more news coming through, just taking you through what top DGCA sources are telling CNN News 18. Top DGCA officials on further probe are actually saying that the wreckage distribution will be studied and photographed in detail to find out the direction and speed and impact on the aircraft. Black box retrieval is crucial to try and study the aircraft health and whether the aircraft was fit to fly. Pre-flight maintenance data will be also under scrutiny, and further, the cockpit voice recorder will suggest what the pilots were discussing at the last moment. Any official records of pilot ATC communication will clear what went wrong, and further external factors will also be looked at, like weather, runway positioning, wind, etc. Now, Anvit Srivastava joins us with more details on this story. Yes, Anvit.
Anand, see, these are the steps in which DGCA will be conducting its final investigation into this crash, and teams, we are being told, are already on their way to the spot to do a detailed study. Also, because the plane has crashed, the wreckage, the kind of distribution it has, because it went up in flames. So it will be very crucial to retrieve the black box from the plane and find out how the aircraft was actually acting up in its last moment. So that is very important to study the aircraft health, whether it was fit to fly, what was the technical issue, if there was any in this aircraft, because previously NTSB also had flagged issues and had told FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration in the US, to make sure that many of these aircrafts had shown defects in landing gear, particularly, and across models this defects was found. In fact, last February also a jet had crashed in Philadelphia, in which 7 people were killed on board. So these Learjet accidents have been there in the news, and following that NTSB also had issued a statement and had asked FAA to act on it, and therefore DGCA will also keep those defects in mind, and not just the wreckage distribution, but further other than the retrieval of black box, cockpit voice recorder will also be looked at to find out as to what was the conversation between, not just between the pilots also, but also between the pilot and the ATC, what communication was there, and if there was any defect or any problem on board that was communicated to the ATC, whether it was a mayday call, whether there was any defect was communicated, whether they were seeking any directions to land, if there was any issue on board the plane. Also, it will clear, the external factors will be studied to see that whether runway positioning is what could have led to this crash, whether the altitude that the plane was landing at was not right, or the speed was not right. So all those things will be looked at, and to finally conclude as to what happened. There could be internal and technical factors as well. External factors will also not be ruled out and will also be looked at. So initially, DGCA has said, even though they have confirmed that Ajit Pawar was on that flight, there were 5 people on board, 2 pilots, 2 of his staff, and Ajit Pawar was there, and the flight has crashed and no survivors are there. They've also said that the attempt to land was being made, and it was that time when the accident took place. So keeping this in mind, it cannot be ruled out that NTSB that had issued, raised issues with the landing gear, that could have played in here as well. So DGCA will keep that also in mind while probing the incident. So far, the incident has finally come out, and they've confirmed the incident and confirmed the death as well.
Well, we got many reactions coming in. This is a Learjet, one of the workhorses that is being used as chartered flights by many netas and people all across the world. Very trustworthy, flies at very high altitudes and can cover at least 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers in terms of distance. And it is seen as one of the workhorses among the low passenger chartered flights which are taken in, and even for medium to long distances. Now, there are eyewitness reactions that have come in which actually showcase the fact that it was at the approach. Now, if you were to see the pictures, viewers, the pictures very clearly say that just ahead of the approach of the landing strip, that's where the crash has happened. There are eyewitness versions that are coming in. We'll play that out in a bit. Union Minister Piyush Goyal has also reacted. We'll play that out. I think devastated. That is the first reaction that's come in from the entire Pawar family. Just one word. They're all shocked and dismayed and absolute disbelief for anybody, because such is life. We may make a lot of plans, but then when death comes knocking, it can just put all those plans in abeyance and just take a loved one away. From a family perspective, they're all very shocked, because this has happened in Baramati. He was going to Baramati to try and address a few rallies ahead of campaigning, ahead of the Baramati civic body polls. Baramati is the bastion of the Pawar family, and this is where they have learned their work in terms of political and public life. And for nearly more than 4 decades, Ajit Dada Pawar has been active while working and learning under the shadows and the able guidance of Sharad Pawar. The octogenarian must be shocked today. One can only think what Mr. Sharad Pawar must be going through. He has battled so many adversities politically, personally, and he has fought through them and emerged. But condolences to the Pawar family. And as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nitin Gadkari have already said, everybody is only praying that they are accorded the strength to deal with such a tragedy as that has transpired. An air crash that has taken away Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, fondly known as Ajit Dada Pawar. Arunima now with us. Arunima, the DGCA is now going to get into the details, but according to an eyewitness version, they're saying that the aircraft, as it descended, it seemed it would crash, and it did crash. It then exploded. There was a massive explosion, and after that we rushed there and saw that the aircraft was on fire. There were 4 or 5 explosions in the aircraft again. More people came here and tried to pull the people out of the aircraft, but since it was a huge fire, people could not help. Ajit Pawar was on board, and this is really painful for us. I can't describe it in words. This is one of the eyewitness version, and the pictures also say the same. It was approaching, it was making an approach to the landing strip. So what went wrong and where is going to be very, very critical, and people will need these answers.
Yesterday, when the plane was about to land, eyewitnesses who are not technically
proficient to their naked eye also, the plane seemed unstable. Eyewitnesses say that it looked to us that the plane would crash, and it did crash land. What really went wrong, we do not know. Was this an engine related issue, any technical failure, or as some sources are indicating, was it anything to do with the conditions in which the plane was landing? All of that will have to be investigated. But the eyewitness account, if there are any videos, none have surfaced so far, but if there are any visual evidence at the time of landing, that could help the investigators as well. And like Anvit said, the normal standard operating procedure will be followed. The black box, the flight data recorder, the engine, the placement of the wings, and the tail end of the plane has survived. So there could be some evidence there as well when technical investigation is carried out. But this is extremely unfortunate. It looks like that the pilot was not in control of the aircraft, and he could not really steer it towards the runway. Right at the start of the runway, the flight crashed, and in minutes it was on fire. Eyewitness account also seems to be suggesting that there were multiple explosions, at least 4 to 5 explosions after the crash landing, giving no chance if there was even anyone injured, anyone who had survived the crash. The fire ensured that there was no chance of them being pulled out of the wreckage.
Yes, and this was the approach for this airstrip, and many people say that there had been repeated requests to try and lengthen the the length of this entire airstrip and also give it a certain more amount of permanency and a more solid structure than the way it had been currently designed. And these requests had also come from Ajit Pawar himself. We have one of the eyewitness reactions. Let's listen into what this eyewitness had to say.
ये हमने देखा कि एयरप्लेन जब नीचे आया था ऐसा लग रहा था उसका क्रैश हो जाएगा ऐसा हम सोच रहे थे, तभी क्रैश हो गया। हम देखे कि हमें लगा नहीं क्रैश हो गया है, लेकिन एयर ट्रैप पे उतरेगा ऐसा लगा, उतर रहा है, लेकिन क्रैप हुआ और उसके बाद स्फोट हो गया उसका ज़बरदस्त। स्फोट होने के बाद वो हम देखने आए, पहले देखा तो उसको आग लगी थी पूरे प्लेन को, और उसके बाद 4-5 स्फोट हो गया विमान में उसका, और उसके बाद बहुत लोग आ गए और उसने निकालने की कोशिश की, लेकिन बड़ी आग लगी, उसके कारण कोई मदद नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन सब आ गए। तब बाद में उसमें अजीत दादा था। ये हमारे लिए बहुत शौक की बात में है कि हमें बता नहीं सकते हम बात में ऐसा, लेकिन हमने देखा है कि पायलट ने भी ट्राई किया होगा कि लैंडिंग करने का, लेकिन लैंडिंग हुआ नहीं है। ये बहुत शौक वाली घटना है।
So the eyewitness there saying that they were watching the aircraft and they could see that there was something wrong. It may crash. The aircraft attempted to land but then crashed just ahead of the airstrip. There were multiple explosions. They tried to rush towards the crash and the debris to try and rescue people. They were aware that Ajit Dada Pawar was part of that in that flight. But they just could not do anything because there were multiple explosions and the extent of the fire was such, the blaze was such because of the crash, that they just could not help and save anybody or rescue anybody. And they're all very, very, very shocked. A lot of shock, angst, despair, dismay among the supporters of Ajit Pawar and also across the political fraternity. The Pawar family has just is en route to Baramati. Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, her husband Sadanand Sule, Mrs. Sharad Pawar, they are all travelling and rushing to Baramati. Parth Pawar, Rohit Pawar, they will all also be making their way. The entire Pawar family will head to Baramati. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, has also expressed condolences. He said, and he's posted on X, the news of the tragic demise of Shri Ajit Pawar in a plane crash is deeply shocking and profoundly distressing. It is an untimely loss of a leader who had a long and promising political career ahead. No words can adequately express the immense grief that the bereaved family must be enduring during this difficult hour. I extend my deepest condolences to the entire Pawar family, his supporters and well-wishers. Having served the people of Maharashtra in various constitutional capacities, Shri Ajit Pawar shall be remembered as a seasoned politician who discharged his responsibilities towards his people with sincerity and astuteness. May his soul rest in peace. Mallikarjun Kharge. Ajit Pawar entered politics and public life in 1980-82 and then was elected to the Lok Sabha as early as 1991. Nearly 4 decades in public life for Ajit Pawar. Lalu Prasad Yadav has also taken to X to post his condolences. बारामती प्लेन हादसे में महाराष्ट्र के डिप्टी सीएम श्री अजीत पवार जी के निधन का अत्यंत दुखद समाचार प्राप्त हुआ। ईश्वर उनकी आत्मा को शांति प्रदान करे तथा परिजनों और समर्थकों को इस अपूर्णीय क्षति को सहने की क्षमता प्रदान करे। हादसे की उच्च स्तरीय जांच होनी चाहिए। विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि। That's what Lalu Yadav has tweeted and posted. There is also a message that has come across from Ram Mohan Naidu. The Civil Aviation Minister Vinod Tavade has also tweeted. Ram Mohan Naidu coming out and saying, deeply saddened by the tragic passing of Shri Ajit Pawar in the plane crash in Baramati earlier today. My sincere condolences to his family, loved ones and all those affected by this loss. May his contributions to public life be remembered and may the bereaved find strength in this difficult time. There is also a message that has come in from Vinod Tavade of the BJP. बारामती की मिट्टी से उठा एक तूफान आज उसी मिट्टी में शांत हो गया। माननीय अजीत दादा के दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण निधन की खबर से आज पूरा महाराष्ट्र स्तब्ध और शोकमग्न है। मेरे साथ ही हर प्रदेशवासी का इस पर विश्वास कर पाना बहुत मुश्किल है। राजनीति में स्पष्ट और बेबाक, जनता के प्रिय और अपने शब्दों पर अडिग रहने वाले जननेता आज हमें छोड़कर चले गए। अलविदा अजीत दादा. This is Vinod Tavade. Viewers, one must understand that Maharashtra politics, despite being fiercely contested, there has always been a certain level of amiability and perhaps how we would say polite behavior among politicians outside of the active political stage. They would be great friends, have a cup of tea, have conversations and perhaps even discuss politics. So what they would take, their plan politically and how they would behave personally, there was always a certain decorum that was maintained. And just like Shri Nitin Gadkari said, there were always great personal equations and relations despite what level or line of politics one would follow. And this was established even by the likes of Sharad Pawar and Balasaheb Thackeray. At that time, they were great friends, they would communicate personally, but politically they were fierce opponents and rivals. And that's why this sentiment is coming across political party lines from Maharashtra leaders, because they all respect, like and know each other personally. Let's go across to Yesha Kotak. Yesha is on her way to Baramati. Baramati must be shocked. This was the bastion, and like Vinod Tavade said, he came from here, from Baramati, and rose to the Maharashtra and national spectrum. And tragedy as it is, he breathed his last at his own soil in Baramati. Eknath Shinde is speaking, Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister.
दुर्दैवी घटना आज महाराष्ट्रात घडली आहे. खरं म्हणजे असं कोणाच्या स्वप्नातही वाटलं नसेल की अजितदादा एवढ्या लवकर आपल्यातून जातील. ही महाराष्ट्रासाठी अतिशय दुःखद आणि दुर्दैवी घटना अजितदादांच्या जाण्याने झालेली आहे.
Eknath Shinde saying this is a very, very sad and tragic turn of events.
अजितदादा गेले अनेक वर्ष या महाराष्ट्राच्या राजकारणात नेतृत्व करत होते.
For the last many years,
आणि
Ajit Dada Pawar has been at the forefront of Maharashtra politics as a tall leader.
परखड स्पष्ट वक्तेपणा,
candid, straight
आणि
talking,
प्रशासनावर असलेली त्यांची
and a very,
पकड
very
आपण पाहिलेली
able,
आहे.
hard-working administrator.
प्रत्येक गोष्टीचा त्यांना बारीक अभ्यास करून बोलण्याची सवय होती.
His politics was
आणि
practiced
परखड स्पष्ट वक्तेपणा, निर्भीड, रोखठोक बोलणारे
he
असले
was fearless,
तरी
would
सुद्धा
speak his
चूक
mind,
त्याला चूक म्हणणारे असले तरी सुद्धा
and if he
अतिशय
were
मनाने
and
ते
never
निर्मळ
deterring
होते.
from admitting
त्याचा अनुभव
his
मी स्वतः
mistakes,
घेतलेला आहे. त्यांच्यासोबत
ready to
मी
take responsibility for
मंत्रिमंडळात
both
देखील काम
achievements
केलं.
and failures.
मी मुख्यमंत्री असताना त्यांनी उपमुख्यमंत्री म्हणून देखील काम केलं.
He was deputy
आणि
chief minister when I was chief minister.
जेव्हा मुख्यमंत्री मी असताना मुख्यमंत्री माझी लाडकी बहीण योजना किंबहुना इतरही योजना जेव्हा आम्ही सुरू केल्या तेव्हा आर्थिक जे
And he
काही
backed and
घडी आहे
supported all the
किंवा
initiatives
आर्थिक तरतूद जी आहे
like Ladki Behan
ती
that were
अतिशय
undertaken
उत्तमपणे,
during my
उत्तमपणे,
tenure as chief minister.
त्यांनी
He
त्यावेळेस
ensured
केली
funds were available. He ensured that
आणि
the implementation
त्याचा
of these
अनुभव मला आहे.
schemes
आणि एकदा
went
करायचं
about as
ठरवलं की
planned.
ते अजितदादा करायचे. करतो, बघतो, पाहतो असे शब्द त्यांच्या डिक्शनरीत नव्हते.
And he was always a person who would say, if it's got to be done, it will be done.
असं स्पष्ट
There were
वक्तेपणा
no ifs, buts and
या
maybes in
महाराष्ट्राने
his
पाहिलेला आहे.
lexicon and his language.
मी असेन, मुख्यमंत्री देवेंद्रजी असतील, अजितदादा असतील, आम्ही टीम म्हणून काम केलं.
We
टीम
worked as
म्हणून
a
काम
team
करतो.
and we worked
आमच्या
together.
वेळाही कामाच्या वेगवेगळ्या मी पहाटे उशिरापर्यंत काम करतो. अजितदादा पहाटे लवकर काम सुरू करतात. देवेंद्रजी दिवसभर काम करतात. आणि अजितदादांनी 6-6 वाजता देखील अपॉइंटमेंट दिलेल्या अधिकाऱ्यांनी आणि लोकप्रतिनिधींनी पाहिलेल्या आहेत.
So he was one of the most hard-working leaders I've known. We all worked
आणि वेळेचं भान ठेवणारा
round the clock. He
नेता
has given, there are officials who would confirm this, that he has given appointments as early as 6 a.m. in the morning.
काल परवाच आमची एका कार्यक्रमामध्ये भेट झाली. सरन्यायाधीश आपले भारताचे
I just met him the day before
मुंबईत आले होते
at a function
आणि ते
in
येण्यापूर्वी
Mumbai.
आम्ही तिथंच एका चेंबरमध्ये बसलो होतो आणि त्यावेळेस झालेल्या चर्चा, गप्पा गोष्टी
And we were sitting together in the
आजही सकाळी
chamber.
जेव्हा मला त्यांची ही घटना
We had a
कळली,
couple of we had
तेव्हा
an
तेच समोर
in-depth conversation about work and
त्याच
otherwise.
आठवणी काल परवाच्या येऊ लागल्या. खरं म्हणजे माझ्यापेक्षा ते राजकारणात देखील अनुभवी नेते गेल्या अनेक वर्षापासूनचा त्यांचा अनुभव
No one would have thought that
वयाने
this would,
देखील
such would
माझ्यापेक्षा
be
ते
the
मोठे
turn of
होते.
events in such a short span of
आणि
time. I still
अनुभवाने
remember and I will always remember my last
आणि म्हणून
conversation with
त्यांना
him. We have lost a very, very able administrator too
राज्यातल्या
soon.
अनेक विषयांचा गाढा अभ्यास होता.
And he was
अनेक
aware
विभाग त्यांनी
of some of
हाताळले
the
होते.
most complex and
त्याचा राज्याला फायदा
even
होत
the
होता.
basic nitty-gritties
मंत्रिमंडळात
of
देखील
affairs relating to
ज्यावेळेस
Maharashtra.
काही विषय यायचे त्यावेळेस आपल्या राज्याची आर्थिक परिस्थिती अशी आहे, आपल्याला सर्वांना काटकसर करावी लागेल अशी अगदी निर्भीडपणे सांगणारे अजितदादा
He was somebody who always spoke his mind, fearless and ready to do what is required in order for the betterment and the progress of Maharashtra.
आणि त्यामुळे त्यांच्या जाण्याने फक्त पवार कुटुंबियांचंच नाही तर संपूर्ण महाराष्ट्राचं न भरून येणारं नुकसान झालेलं आहे.
And it's not just the Pawar family
माझ्यापेक्षा मायाने
or
मोठे
the
असल्यामुळे
NCP
एक
or the party,
काय आमची
but all of
गेल्या
Maharashtra
अनेक
has lost
वर्षापासूनची जवळीक निर्माण
a
झाली
true
होती.
son and a good leader.
त्यामुळे राजकारणातले आम्ही तिघजण एक टीम म्हणून काम करत असलो तरी सुद्धा
We've always worked together as a team.
हरपल्याची गेल्याची भावना देखील दुःख देखील माझ्या मनामध्ये आहे.
And it will hurt me because we worked together as one team. He was like an elder brother
आदरांजली अर्पण
in that team, and I feel that. I will feel that loss. This loss hurts me, and I express my deepest condolences and offer my Shraddhanjali.
हे दुःख पचवण्याची क्षमता
We hope that the family has the courage to be able to brave this, to be able to bear this loss and then still move on. Heart will also be going out to amongst a lot of the politicians, to the octogenarian Sharad Pawar, who really loved his nephew and saw him as his political legatee. He was torn between his love for Supriya Sule, who he wanted to be placed and secured politically, and somewhere it was decided that Ajit Dada Pawar would be the state face of the NCP, whereas Supriya Sule would ply the politics at a national level. Tehseen Poonawalla is with us this morning. Shocking turn of events. Rajesh Tope is with us. Shaina NC is also with us. Yesha Kotak is joining us live. We'll also have Raj Punj of the Shiv Sena. Daniel Francis is with us. Arun Dhanta is with us. Yesha Kotak, you're on your way to Baramati. People of Baramati are shocked. All those who have posted that video, the horrific video of the crash, all the locals, they are saying this is something which we'll never be able to forget. This is a shocking turn of events. We've lost a big leader, and he was really loved by the people of Baramati.
Absolutely, Anand. In fact, more so, last time when we were around at Baramati, we had interviewed Ajit Pawar one-on-one. And it's even more tragic that, we head today to Baramati to cover this very tragic event. In fact, throughout the time, whatever we've experienced at Baramati, people had always credited Ajit Pawar for making Baramati to where it is. Rightly so. In fact, we also heard Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde speaking about this. His day would begin anywhere at 4 o'clock. His lineups would begin at 5 o'clock. And be it each and every small village of Baramati, people would gather, line up to meet him, because they were sure that, when they would meet Ajit Dada, they would have a solution to the problem. Whoever would come to him would not be unheard. Was something that was experienced by people at Baramati, and that's where, something that you've also been speaking about, when it came to both the Pawars, be it Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar, it was quite evident that Sharad Pawar was the one who bought that place for Baramati, but Ajit Pawar was taking forward that legacy, and which was also something that was evident when it came to both the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha elections. They happened to support Sharad Pawar in the Lok Sabha and Ajit Pawar in the Vidhan Sabha election. For Baramatикars, they always saw that the Pawar family had never separated. They would in fact see both of them coming together. And for the entire Baramati, for people at Baramati, Pawar family was an extension of their own family, the kind of work that was being done. Because even recently when we saw Ajit Pawar was constantly at Baramati for the last couple of weeks. He was constantly in and around Baramati, in Pune, taking a stock of all the elections that took place, the municipal corporation elections that took place, because this was something that was very close to his heart. His work, his vision was something that was quite evident at Baramati. And for an incident like this to take place at Baramati, a place which he grew, which he in fact molded into the kind of industrial hub that it became, is in fact a tragic moment for the people in Baramati to see this so closely.
Right.
As far as incidents are concerned, when the tragic incident took place, he was taken to Baramati Medical College. All of these places have in fact been contributed and developed by the Pawar family themselves.
Well, he was also a straight talker, and he would talk with the locals like the locals would understand, and oftentimes the media would take that up and really whip it up because it was controversial, and he didn't mind these controversies. He didn't care to react to them because he knew that his connect was at the grassroots, and he connected like the grassroots wished to connect with him. Shaina NC is with us, Tehseen Poonawalla, Raj Punj, and Daniel Francis also with us. Arun Dhanta continues to report on this story. But what a tragic turn of events. Shaina NC, your thoughts? This has left a lot of people absolutely shocked and beyond belief.
Yes, you're right. Shocked is an understatement. Sometimes one falls short on words and what does one say in a situation such as this. Well, Anand, Ajit Pawar and myself, we are neighbors. We have the same boundary wall. So when I went to his home this morning and spoke to his staff, they were saying that he met with public from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then left for Baramati. It also shows you the challenges that leaders such as him has with the finance minister, has with the irrigation minister, has with the deputy chief minister, and a 50-year-long life in public life is not very easy. People only see it from the outside. So I think at this point, one would only want to offer prayers to his family and to his constituents and to his people, for which sometimes, we really don't look at whether it's a Sachin Pilot losing his father or a Jyotiraditya Scindia losing his father or a Gopinath Munde more recently losing his life or Vijay Rupani losing his life. And here you have Ajit Pawar also losing life much earlier than his time. So my prayers and Shraddhanjali to all of them.
You're saying 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. This morning he was working, meeting people, and then he set off to Baramati. As of now, we are given to understand there were 5 people aboard that flight. The reports are saying 6 or 5, but 5 confirmed names we have. Ajit Pawar, the Deputy Chief Minister, his PSO, Vijay Jadhav, Sumit Kapoor, the pilot, Sambhavi Pathak, another pilot, and flight assistant Pinky Mali. So these are the 5 names that we have, and how shocking it is. A Learjet, a trustworthy a plane that can be depended upon to try and, and it is one of the most preferred planes that netas and people all over the world, businessmen, otherwise travelers, otherwise charter, a dependable aircraft which now eyewitnesses say looked like it was not in control as it was making that approach to the Baramati runway. Tehseen Poonawalla, quite shocking.
At the onset, condolences to the Pawar family. In fact, I met Ajit ji just a few days ago at somebody's residence, and prior to that, I met him at the funeral of Suresh Kalmadi, the erstwhile MP from Pune. And yeah, it just makes you realize how fickle life is. 1 second you're alive and healthy, like Shaina said, he was meeting his constituents, he was meeting his people, and the next second no more. So just all the strength to the family. I'm going to finish this and head to Baramati. I just spoke to Parth, his son, and I'm sure, and the whole family seems devastated. I think the people of Baramati, the people of Pune are devastated, and this is a tragic loss for Maharashtra politics, and it is also a sad reality of how politics and life is so fickle. But most importantly, this aircraft that you spoke about, the company that operates it, this is the second aircraft that is crashed. And I do hope DGCA also wakes up, because what we've seen, Anand, on a larger note in the last year and a half, is a lot of air crashes and chopper crashes. I think DGCA needs to wake up. I think we need to have a better discussion on aviation safety, why this is happening. Is maintenance being okay? What is the reasons? And I hope that these reports are transparently put before people, because I think that is important for aviation sector and for our nation.
Point well made, and I think the DGCA has already put out the details. The DGCA very clearly saying that they are going to get to the bottom of it. The cockpit voice recorder, the last conversation that was had with the ATC, all of this will be very carefully monitored, and that seen, was the aircraft in an operable condition and did it go through the mandatory flight checks before taking off. All of this is now subject to investigation. We've got a tweet from Rahul Gandhi. He's posted on X. महाराष्ट्र के उप मुख्यमंत्री श्री अजीत पवार जी और उनके सह यात्रियों की आज हवाई जहाज दुर्घटना में निधन का समाचार अत्यंत पीड़ादायक है। इस शोक के पल में महाराष्ट्र की जनता के साथ हूं। समस्त पवार परिवार और प्रियजनों को इस दुख की घड़ी में अपनी संवेदनाएं व्यक्त करता हूं। So again, shock coming through, but more within Rajpunj, if I may come to you. Shri Rajesh Tope ji is with us. Rajesh ji, namaste. Very, very shocking news. Dukhat samachar.
Yes, it is an irreparable loss to the state at large, to the party particularly, and to my family as well, because I am attached to Mr. Pawar's family since 2 generations. My father was MP, myself since the age of 25. We are continuously attached to the party and to each other. So he has been a mentor to us. He has always guided us in all ups and downs of my life, and he has taught us lot many things which a leader should have within the leadership. So I think that we have lost a great leader, and this loss cannot be recovered by anyone. There's a big vacuum which will be created by his demise, and it's a very painful I mean to say, very, very painful situation for all of us in the Maharashtra state, and especially to NCP.
Rajeshji, I am aware of this, so my deepest condolences also to you and to your family, and it must be quite shocking. But tell us what made Ajit Dada who he is. How did he become so popular among the people of Maharashtra? You know, political successes, failures aside, he was always popular with the people, with the locals. So, and you've known him for so many years. So, share with us what made him special. What was his unique quality?
Yeah, his unique quality I can mention is, first of all, he was very time punctual. No one in our state was starting the meeting at 7 a.m. in the morning. So that was a very special quality to start day very early in the morning. His meetings were to be conducted 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So this, I'm not at all flirting, but this is the real truth. So he's a very time punctual person, very bold person. Means whatever he was mentioning, like whatever he used to say, he used to do it. So he used to tell that whatever he say, he mean it. He was to do it, and that was his special. I think. I mean to say, his special quality.
How
Yeah,
would you
as a
remember
leader,
him? How would you remember
and
him as a
he was
person?
a, yeah, he was a very hardworking person. And whenever we were in ministry, he used to guide us. Basically, I can quote some of the example that when I was on a very hot seat of public health ministry in the time of Corona. So I was public health minister and he was finance minister. So he used to really support a lot, because whatever proposals we were to take to him, because I was on the ground, and so I used to tell him the all facts and he used to understand it properly. He was very sensitive leader, and he used to really help us a lot. So that was the thing what I can mention here, that he used to help and he used to mentor, he used to tell what is good and what is not. So I think all his experiences he used to share to all of our generation,
Right.
and so
Rajesh
that always
Tokaji,
kept Maharashtra.
Rajeshji, my condolences again. Thank you for speaking with us even at this time of real sadness and grief. Thank you. We have viewers breaking from this coverage and cutting straight across to the Lok Sabha. President is addressing the House.
और अगरतला में महिलाओं और बच्चों का अस्पताल बनने से भी बड़ी सुविधा होगी। इस तरह के प्रयासों से पूर्वोत्तर में एक बड़ा हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तैयार हो रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, जो पिछड़ा हो वो मेरी सरकार की प्राथमिकता है। पीएम जनमन योजना, इसी पीएम जनमन योजना आदिवासियों में भी सबसे पिछड़े जनजातियों की 20,000 से ज्यादा गांवों को विकास से जोड़ा जा रहा है। इन गांव में गरीबों के करीब 2.5 लाख घर इसी योजना के माध्यम से बने हैं। धरती व जनजातियों ग्राम उत्कर्ष अभियान से भी आदिवासी क्षेत्रों में विकास को अभूतपूर्व गति मिल रही है। इन दोनों योजनाओं पर सरकार 1 लाख करोड़ रुपया से अधिक खर्च कर रही है। पिछले 11 वर्षों में अनुसूचित जाति के लाखों छात्रों को 42,000 करोड़ रुपया से अधिक की पोस्ट मैट्रिक छात्रवृत्ति दी गई है। इससे करीब 5,000 विद्यार्थियों को लाभ हुआ है। 5 करोड़ विद्यार्थियों को लाभ हुआ है। आदिवासी क्षेत्रों में सरकार ने 400 से अधिक एकलव्य आदर्श आवासीय विद्यालय भी खोले हैं। इनमें जनजातीय बच्चों को अच्छी शिक्षा और बेहतर भविष्य मिल रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, कृषि का महत्व समझाते हुए संत तिरुवल्लुवर ने कहा था कि समाज के लोग चाहे जिस भी काम से जुड़े हो, हर व्यक्ति का जीवन एक मेहनती किसान के परिश्रम पर निर्भर होता है। इसलिए मेरी सरकार खुशहाल किसान को विकसित भारत की पहली प्राथमिकता के रूप में देखती है। इसी भावना के साथ सरकार ने पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि जैसे योजना को शुरू किए हैं। अब तो इस योजना से किसानों को 4 लाख करोड़ रुपया से अधिक राशि सीधे उनके खाता में भेजी गई है। मेरी सरकार की सही नीतियों और प्रयासों से आज देश के कृषि उत्पादन तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। वर्ष 2024-25 में खाद्यान्नों और बागवानी की फसलों में रिकॉर्ड उत्पादन हुआ है। सरकार इन फसलों का भी उत्पादन बढ़ाने के लिए काम कर रही है, जिसमें अभी तक हमारा कृषि क्षेत्र पीछे था। सरकार की मंशा है कि इससे कृषि उत्पादकों का आयात भी कम हो। खाद्य तेल, तिलहन और दलहन से जुड़े नेशनल मिशन के कारण इन क्षेत्रों में देश आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर बढ़ रहा है। इसके बल पर 2024-25 में देश में ऑयल सीड फसलों का उत्पादन भी बढ़ा है। किसानों की अतिरिक्त आय के लिए सरकार द्वारा मिलर्स यानी श्री अन्न को वैश्विक स्तर पर बढ़ावा देने का कार्य भी निरंतर जारी है। माननीय सदस्यगण, आज किसानों को अनाज उत्पादन के साथ ही पशुपालन, मत्स्य पालन और मधुमक्खी पालन से भी आर्थिक प्रगति के रास्ते से जोड़ा जा रहा है। कोस्ट लाइन पर रहने वाले मछुआरों को एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन का लाभ देने के लिए नई नीति बनी है। इसके साथ ही हाई सीज की क्षमताओं के इस्तेमाल में सक्षम बनाने के लिए भी नई पॉलिसी बनाई गई है। 2024-25 में देश का मत्स्य उत्पादन लगभग 200 लाख टन हो गया है। 2014 की तुलना में इसमें कुल 105% की बढ़ोतरी हुई है। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार ने एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर के आधुनिकीकरण के लिए और बेहतर लॉजिस्टिक्स निर्माण के लिए एग्रीकल्चर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फंड की व्यवस्था भी की है। मुझे ये साझा करते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि इसके जरिए अब तक 1.25 लाख करोड़ रुपया से अधिक का निजी निवेश आकर्षित हुआ है। इससे युवाओं के लिए रोजगार के लाखों नए मार्ग भी सृजित हुई है। सरकार की दूरदर्शिता से देश में फूड प्रोसेसिंग क्षमता 20 गुना बढ़ी है। इससे किसानों को उनकी फसल का बेहतर मूल्य मिल रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में रोजगार और विकास के लिए विकसित भारत जी राम जी कानून बनाया गया है। मिलेगी और किसान, पशुपालन और मछुआरे साथियों के लिए नई सुविधाएं निर्मित होगी। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार कृषि और पशुपालन जैसे सेक्टर्स में सहकारिता आंदोलन को सशक्त बना रही है। आज त्रिभुवन सहकारी यूनिवर्सिटी से सहकारिता से जुड़े लोगों को सीखने और आगे बढ़ने का मौका मिल रहा है। इसके अलावा 10,000 से ज्यादा FPOs के माध्यम से भी कृषि क्षेत्रों को सशक्त किया जा रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार स्पष्ट रूप से मानती है कि देश का विकास सभी देशवासियों को आगे बढ़ने का समान अधिकार देकर ही संभव है। इसलिए आज देश वुमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट के मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहा है। मेरी सरकार ने महिलाओं के लिए समर्पित विशेष योजनाएं बनाए हैं और साथ ही अन्य योजनाओं के केंद्र में भी महिलाओं को रखा है। प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना से लेकर जल जीवन मिशन तक हर योजना में महिला लाभार्थियों को बड़ी वरीयता मिली है। देश के विकास में महिलाओं की भागीदारी बढ़ाने के लिए मेरी सरकार ने 10 करोड़ महिलाओं को स्वयं सहायता समूहों से जोड़ा है। आज देश में लखपति दीदियों की संख्या 2 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो चुका है। बीते एक वर्ष में ही 60 लाख से ज्यादा महिलाएं लखपति दीदी बनी हैं। मेरी सरकार कुल 3 करोड़ महिलाओं को लखपति दीदी बनाने के लक्ष्यों को जल्द प्राप्त करने वाले हैं। माननीय सदस्यगण, नमो ड्रोन दीदी योजना भी देश के सुदूर अंचलों तक महिला सशक्तिकरण का एक पर्याय बनकर उभरी है। ये प्रशिक्षित ड्रोन दीदी अब आधुनिक तकनीक से जरिए एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। मेरी सरकार महिलाओं की आर्थिक उन्नति के साथ साथ अनेक पोषण, स्वास्थ्य और शिक्षा जैसी सभी विषयों पर ध्यान दे रही है। सितंबर के महीने में चलाए गए स्वस्थ नारी सशक्त परिवार अभियान के तहत लगभग 7 करोड़ महिलाओं की स्वास्थ्य जांच हुई है। इस अभियान ने महिलाओं को त्वरित इलाज शुरू करने में मदद की है। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार की प्रगतिशील सोच और नीतियों के परिणाम स्वरूप देश के हर महत्वाकांक्षी क्षेत्र में महिलाएं तेजी से आगे बढ़ी है। इसी दिशा में कुछ ही महीने पहले देश ने एक और बड़ा माइलस्टोन हासिल किया है। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा अकादमी यानी एनडीए में महिला कैडेट्स का पहला बैच पास आउट हुआ है। इससे ये विश्वास और मजबूत हुआ है कि देश के विकास और सशक्तिकरण में नारी शक्ति सबसे आगे खड़ी है। माननीय सदस्यगण, श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर जी ने हमें सिखाया है, भय काहू को देत नय भय मानत आन, यानी हम ना किसी को डराएं और ना किसी से डर कर जिए। इसी निडर मन से, इसी भावना से देश की सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित कर सकते हैं। भारत ने सिद्ध किया है कि शक्ति का प्रयोग उत्तरदायित्व और विवेक के साथ किया जा सकता है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर से विश्व ने भारतीय सेना का शौर्य और पराक्रम देखा है। हमारे देश ने अपने संसाधनों के बल पर आतंकियों के अड्डे को ध्वस्त कर दिया है। मेरी सरकार ने कड़ा संदेश दिया है कि भारत पर किसी भी आतंकी हमले का जवाब दृढ़ और निर्णायक होगा। सिद्धू जल समझौते को स्थगित किया जाना भी आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध हमारी लड़ाई का हिस्सा है। देश की रक्षा व्यवस्था को और मजबूत बनाने के लिए मिशन सुदर्शन चक्र पर भी काम हो रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार की नीतियों के अनुरूप सुरक्षा बलों ने माओवादी आतंक पर भी निर्णायक कार्रवाई की है। वर्षों तक देश के 126 जिलों में असुरक्षा, भय और अविश्वास का वातावरण था। माओवादी विचारधारा ने कई पीढ़ियों का भविष्य अंधकार में डाल दिया। इसका सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान हमारे युवाओं, आदिवासी और दलित भाई बहनों को हुआ। आज माओवादी आतंक की चुनौती 126 जिलों से घटकर 8 जिलों तक सीमित हो गए हैं। इनमें भी 3 जिले ही ऐसे हैं जो गंभीर रूप से प्रभावित हैं। इस एक साल में माओवादी से जुड़े लगभग 2000 लोगों ने आत्मसमर्पण किया है। इससे लाखों नागरिकों के जीवन में शांति लौटी है। माओवादी से प्रभावित रहे इलाकों में परिवर्तन को आज पूरे देश देख रहा है। बीजापुर के एक गांव में 26 साल बाद बस पहुंची तो लोगों ने किसी उत्सव की तरह खुशी मनाई। बस्तर ओलंपिक में युवा बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा ले रहे हैं। हथियार छोड़ चुकी व्यक्ति आप जगदलपुर में पंडुम कैफे में लोगों की सेवा कर रहे हैं। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार ये सुनिश्चित कर रही है कि जो लोग हथियार छोड़कर मुख्यधारा से जुड़े हैं उनका जीवन पटरी पर लौटे। वो दिन दूर नहीं जो देश से आतंक पूरी तरह से समाप्त हो जाए। माननीय सदस्यगण, गुरुदेव रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर ने कहा था कि आजादी तब तक अधूरी है जब तक आत्मनिर्भरता का जीवन ना जिया जाए। मेरी सरकार भारत को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने की दिशा में निरंतर और ठोस प्रयास कर रहे हैं। आज मेक इन इंडिया के विजन के साथ बने उत्पाद दुनिया के अलग अलग बाजारों तक पहुंच रही है। स्वदेशी को लेकर भी देशवासियों में बहुत उत्साह है। माननीय सदस्यगण, पीएलआई योजना से अभी तक लगभग 2 लाख करोड़ रुपया का निवेश आकर्षित हुआ है। साथ ही 17 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का उत्पादन हुआ है। भारत का इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सेक्टर अभूतपूर्व गति से विकास कर रहा है। बीते 11 वर्षों में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स प्रोडक्शन में 6 गुना वृद्धि हुई है। आज ये 11 लाख करोड़ रुपया का हो चुका है। वर्ष 2025 में भारत का डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपया से पार हो चुका है और डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट भी रिकॉर्ड 23,000 करोड़ रुपया से ऊपर चल गया है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद मेड इन इंडिया डिफेंस प्लेटफॉर्म पर भरोसा मजबूत हुआ है। माननीय सदस्यगण, निवेश और निर्यात के मामले में भारत की वैश्विक हिस्सेदारी निरंतर बढ़ रही है। बीते 11 वर्षों में भारत में लगभग $750 बिलियन का FDI आया है। मेरी सरकार भारत में नई सेक्टर्स को प्रोत्साहित दे रही है। आधुनिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और भविष्य की टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए माइक्रोचिप में आत्मनिर्भरता बहुत आवश्यक है। वर्ष 2025 में 4 और सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट को मंजूरी दी गई है। भारत में 10 ऐसे फैक्ट्रियां आने वाले समय में अपना काम शुरू करने वाली है। भारत अब नानो चिप निर्माण के लिए भी बड़े कदम उठा रहे हैं। माननीय सदस्यगण, चिप के अलावा एक और बहुत बड़ा क्षेत्र है जिसको लेकर मेरी सरकार ने मिशन मोड पर काम शुरू किया है। राष्ट्रीय क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स मिशन से जरूरी मिनरल के लिए विदेशों पर निर्भरता को कम किया जा रहा है। माननीय सदस्यगण, अतीत में भारत समुद्री व्यापार की एक महाशक्ति हुआ करता था, लेकिन गुलामी के बाद दशकों की उपेक्षा के कारण आज भारत का 95% व्यापार विदेशी जहाजों पर होता है। इस पर हर वर्ष 6 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक खर्च होते हैं। मेरी
absolutely no
सरकार इस
confirmation of
स्थिति
that.
से
That's also going
देश
to be
को
sort of
बाहर
revealed
निकालने
over
में
time.
जुटी
But
है।
what
शिपिंग
you can
सेक्टर
see
के लिए
here are
सरकार ने
visuals
करीब
from about an hour and a
70,000
half
करोड़
back,
रुपया का
viewers.
ऐतिहासिक पैकेज
These visuals
घोषित
are
किया
being
है।
relayed
बड़े जहाजों को इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का स्टेटस दिया गया है। इतना ही नहीं, शिपिंग से जुड़ी पुराने कानूनों को भी वर्तमान जरूरतों के हिसाब से बदला गया है। माननीय सदस्यगण, केरल के महान संत श्री नारायण गुरु कहते थे, शिक्षा से ज्ञान प्राप्त करो और संगठन से शक्तिशाली बनो। क्योंकि एक राष्ट्र जब सपने देखता है तो उन सपनों का दृष्टा भी उस राष्ट्र का युवा होता है और उनका निर्माता भी वही युवा होता है। आपको ये जानकर खुशी होगी कि बीते 11 वर्षों में के दौरान देश में सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में 25 लाख से अधिक नई रोजगार सृजित हुई है। मेरी सरकार की नीतियों के कारण आज देश में कई नए सेक्टर्स का भी उदय हो रहा है। सेमीकंडक्टर, ग्रीन एनर्जी, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन जैसे इन क्षेत्रों में नए रोजगार बन रहे हैं। माननीय सदस्यगण, मेरी सरकार ने बीते वर्षों में आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के निर्माण पर 50 लाख करोड़ से अधिक राशि खर्च की है। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर हुई इस निवेश ने युवाओं के लिए बड़ी संख्या में रोजगार का निर्माण किया। माननीय सदस्यगण, आज भारत के युवा मन में हम एक और सकारात्मक बदलाव देख रहे हैं। देश का युवा आत्मनिर्भर भारत, स्वदेशी और मेक इन इंडिया को अपनी जिम्मेदारी मान रहे हैं। मुद्रा योजना जैसे प्रयास इन युवाओं में उद्यमिता और स्वरोजगार की भावना को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं। इस स्कीम के तहत अभी तक 38 लाख करोड़ रुपया से अधिक का फंड छोटे छोटे उद्यमियों को मिला है। करीब 12 करोड़ से अधिक लोन पहली बार स्वरोजगार शुरू करने के लिए दिए गए हैं। इसी तरह पीएम विश्वकर्मा योजना के तहत देश के 20 लाख से अधिक कारीगरों को ट्रेनिंग और बैंक से मदद दी जा रही है। पीएम स्वनिधि योजना के तहत भी रेहड़ी फुटपाथ पर काम करने वाले 72 लाख लोगों को 16,000 करोड़ रुपया की मदद मिली। माननीय सदस्यगण, अभी हाल ही में स्टार्टअप इंडिया प्रोग्राम ने अपने 10 लाख पूरे किए हैं। इन 10 साल पूरे किए हैं। इन 10 वर्षों में भारत दुनिया का तीसरा बड़ा स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम बन गया है। एक दशक पहले तो देश में 500 से भी कम स्टार्टअप थे। आज देश में लगभग 2 लाख स्टार्टअप पंजीकृत हो चुके हैं। पिछले साल ही करीब 50,000 नए स्टार्टअप पंजीकृत हुई है। हमारे स्टार्टअप नेटवर्क में 20 लाख से अधिक युवा काम कर रहे हैं। इन स्टार्टअप्स में से 45% में कम से कम एक डायरेक्टर महिला है। माननीय सदस्यगण, बीते एक वर्ष में विभिन्न रोजगार मेले के माध्यम से मेरी सरकार ने लाखों युवाओं को पक्की नौकरी दी है। प्राइवेट सेक्टर में भी 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए के बजट की प्रधानमंत्री विकसित भारत रोजगार योजना लागू की गई। इसके तहत 3.5 करोड़ नए रोजगार सृजित किए जा रहे हैं। मेरी सरकार के प्रयासों से आईटी सर्विस, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और ग्लोबल कैपेबिलिटी सेंटर्स में भी 1 करोड़ से अधिक युवाओं को रोजगार मिला है। माननीय सदस्यगण,
chances for any
बीते
survival. The
वर्ष
entire plane, everyone on
देश
board
में
was just
1
engulfed in
लाख
the
से
fire
ज्यादा
which
मोबाइल
started
टावर्स
after the
के
crash happened.
जरिए 4G और
Yes,
5G
those
नेटवर्क
pictures,
को
of
देश
course,
के कोने कोने
are
तक पहुंचाया गया है।
absolutely devastating. Coming from Baramati to speaking to us, it is
डिजिटल
a scene that
इंडिया के
no one
विस्तार ने
expected to wake
भारत
up
को
to.
हजारों करोड़
Least
की
of all, of
क्रिएटिव
course,
इकोनॉमी
the
के
Pawar family, which
एक
is
बड़े ग्लोबल
obviously
सेंटर
bereaved
के
right
रूप
now.
में
We're being told that they're rushing to Baramati
पहुंचाना
to
दी गई
obviously
है।
take
क्रिएटिव इकोनॉमी को और
to
गति
take
देने के लिए
a
मेरी सरकार ने
complete
वेब्स का नया
and
प्लेटफॉर्म भी
obvious
बनाया है।
situation. But those
माननीय सदस्यों
pictures
को
there on the left of
आज
your screens,
टेक्नोलॉजी
viewers,
तेजी से बदल
are of
रही है, इसके कारण
several
जोश का
constituents,
नेचर भी तेजी
supporters
से
of Ajit Pawar
बदलता जा रहा
that
है।
are now at this hospital. This is a major development. I just want to go back to Pallavi for just a few moments. We see in the middle of our screens, of course, Mr. Ajit Pawar. Other times, and on the right, of course, the wreckage from the crash. And those are the pictures that tell you just how devastating the impact might have been. Arunima, this is looking extremely bad. This crash obviously taking place at a time which was most unexpected. That, of course, is an obvious statement. But from the wreckage, it shows that the plane was coming hurtling down to the ground. We would, of course, connect to a few experts, but Arunima, just talk us through these pictures. These pictures tell us a story.
Yes, so it looks like, I mean, it was a smaller aircraft, like I was telling you. Was the weather a factor? Prima facie, if you look at the weather in Baramati today, what authorities are saying that it was a bright, sunny day. So did weather in any way play any role? Prima facie, the authorities are still struggling to understand what went wrong. A detailed technical report will be sought. The wreckage from the ground will be analyzed. And once again, it takes you back to the nightmare of what we saw. Of course, it was a bigger aircraft. There were far more civilian casualties. But what happened in Ahmedabad, again, the authorities are saying that, in this case also, we will have to look at the wreckage to figure out, because it looked like that the pilot had lost control and the way the chartered aircraft crashed, it immediately, was on fire, giving very little chance for anyone to come out of the wreckage and survive. And these pictures that we are putting out for our viewers, I think are testimony to what sources here in Delhi, in DGCA, in civil aviation are telling us. A detailed investigation will of course be done, but prima facie that is the detail with which the authorities here are coming out with. Essentially what they are saying after their primary investigation and speaking to primary sources on the ground is that this was a Learjet aircraft. Is called Learjet 45 and it had taken off with 5 people including crew members. Personal security officials of Ajit Pawar were also on board, and it took off at about 8:45 and within minutes it had crashed in Baramati. There's no official word as yet as to what went wrong. Was it a technical failure? What was the reason that the pilot lost control? But the visuals that we have tells you that the fire really left no chance for anyone, even if they were injured. The fire really left them with no chance of escaping the wreckage.
Arunima, just stay on with me. I want to go straight across to Anvit also to get a sense from him about the DGCA's perspective on this. And we're going to ask the director Saab to actually keep all the visuals of the crash at the bottom of the screens and also make the windows of the guests more aligned to the right of the screen or the left of the screen and smaller, so that maximum primacy can be given to the visuals as we are seeing them. But Anvit, what are you hearing from the DGCA even as we speak with these visuals devastating? We're now being told that this was actually a Learjet and not an Embraer. Can you confirm?
Yes, Rahul, it is confirmed. We spoke to DGCA top officials and they've confirmed that this was a Learjet aircraft, and this is a 6 to 8 seater aircraft, and we've been told that it took off around 8:10 and 9:12 is when the ATC got the confirmation that the jet has crashed. Now we have also received an official confirmation from the DGCA that have said that there were 5 people on board. It says that aircraft landed at Baramati, and during the landing it was that the aircraft crashed. It crash landed, and Ajit Pawar, along with two of his more personnel and PSOs and one attendant and two crew were on board. It also goes on to say that as per initial information, no person on board has survived the crash. That confirms that Ajit Pawar was on board, and that it also confirms that none of them have survived the crash. We are learning that the teams of DGCA are also on their way to the location, and they'll soon be there, and this certainly will go into a detailed inquiry. But important to note here that Learjet, NTSB had also recently, because in Feb last year also in Philadelphia also one jet had crashed, killing 7 people. It was also a Learjet. So NTSB had also issued warnings regarding the landing gear of this plane recently, around 3 to 4 months ago, and that is also something that was being looked into. So technical aspects of this will also be looked into as to what could be the reason, but currently DGCA is restricting itself to saying that there was probably some technical issue that led to this crash, and it was, we are being told that it was while attempting a landing that it could not be a proper landing, and it crash landed, and that is why it went up to flames and killing all the 5 people on board.
So you're suggesting that there was an attempt by the pilot to land this aircraft, and that perhaps explains why this is an open field where this particular crash has taken place. So there was an attempt, according to Anvit, quoting DGCA sources, that the pilot was trying to land this plane, but unfortunately it did not work out as per his plan. And you can see from the site and the devastation there that the plane and anyone else who were aboard that, including Mr. Ajit Pawar, had very slim chances of escaping the fire that engulfed the plane soon after. And you can see the smoking plumes of fire still rising to the right of your screens. You can see to the bottom of your screens a large number of constituents and supporters of Mr. Ajit Pawar accompanying his mortal remains and perhaps those of the others to this hospital, where they will, of course, be kept in the morgue. And of course, there will have to be a postmortem. And there will, of course, also is also headed to Baramati as we speak. Arunima, fundamentally, this particular area is an area that the Pawars had been nursing for many, many decades altogether, in fact, throughout their political careers. So the people of Baramati must be in an extended state of absolute shock, because there was a lot of love for the family.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Baramati is like synonymous with the Pawar family. And like, all my colleagues too have been reporting, if Sharad Pawar was the initial name with which Baramati resonated, Ajit Pawar carved his own path too. Even when the split happened between NCP Sharad Pawar and NCP, which was led by Ajit Pawar, people were initially skeptical. But as the electoral results showed, Ajit Pawar had managed to win over the Baramati constituents and the neighboring areas in large parts of Maharashtra on his own. For him to have lost his life in such an unfortunate way at a time when already the cadre was geared up for the Zilla Parishad elections, the shock of Baramati residents is something that has to be seen to be believed. But the Sharad Pawar family is together in this hour of grief. The entire family. Parliament first day in session, Supriya Sule's residence here in Delhi. As soon as the news came in, all the NCP leaders rushed there, and now they're all rushing to Mumbai, from where they'll move towards Baramati. Silver Oak is the residence of Sharad Pawar, so I think that's where the entire Pawar family is moving from there towards Baramati. Very, very unfortunate. And the visuals, once again, I want to refer to, because what authorities are pointing out that, this is the most unfortunate way for anybody to lose his life, because it seems that the remains are completely charred. The fire did not give anyone a chance, and it looks like that the pilot lost control in a way that after the crash landing there was hardly any time, even if there was any injury, the injured had no chance really to escape the wreckage.
Come back to you both. I want to go across to Rohit Chandravakar, who's, of course, a very senior journalist joining us from Maharashtra for more on this. Mr. Chandravakar, obviously, a very sad moment to be speaking to you. Ajit Pawar, no more, passed away in this horrible, devastating crash. What are your first thoughts, and put his legacy, his career into perspective for some of us here? Rohit ji, can you hear me? This is Rahul Shivshankar. Can you hear me? Okay, we're going to try and connect with Rohit ji in just a few moments. But let me just bring in Anvit. Anvit, very quickly, just talk us through the kind of plane this was. We are told it's a Learjet, obviously used for commercial purposes. But before I just come to you, let me just bring back Rohit into this broadcast. Rohit, thank you very much. Senior journalist joining us from Maharashtra, somebody who knows the politics in and out of the state. And not just that, but also Ajit Pawar and the Pawar family. A very, very, very devastating loss for the Pawar family and, of course, the people of Maharashtra. The Deputy Chief Minister, no more, passed away in unfortunate circumstances. Talk us through a little bit about the legacy, the life of Ajit Pawar's contributions, and of course, what this actually means now in the larger context.
That's correct. Maharashtra has woken up to a shock, I must say. This is really very shocking, totally unexpected thing. A person, a leader who kept himself physically very fit, we used to travel a lot, and, just ahead of the district council polls, which are happening in the first, second week of February, very crucial polls for Ajit Pawar. He was traveling in his home territory, that is Baramati in Pune district, for campaigning for the district council. Sudden, this Learjet crash that has happened while attempting landing at Baramati airport. And remember, Baramati has a wide, good quality runway because there is a big aviation academy that runs at Baramati, and all equipment for landing, including ILS and everything, is installed there. At this place, there has not been any such incident in the past. We've just got the news that the aircraft has crashed while landing, and there are no survivors. Ajit Pawar's role in developing Baramati, especially in Pune district, his hometown, has been huge. It's really ironical that his life ended at that very airport, which he himself took a lead in developing. This incident is going to affect the local elections that are coming up in Maharashtra in a major way. Huge shock for the Pawar family, because remember, senior Pawar, that is Sharad Pawar, was in a phase just a few weeks ago where he almost announced that he's taking a backseat, and the NCP, both factions of the Nationalist Congress Party, kind of united for the recently held municipal elections in Maharashtra. So it was clear that that both factions will be now led by relatively younger Ajit Pawar. And Supriya Sule and Ajit Pawar worked together in the recent municipal polls in Pune and Pimpri-Chinchwad and other areas in Western Maharashtra, also in Mumbai. Now they were working together on campaigning and other things for the upcoming district polls. This incident, of course, has come as a shock, not just to this almost, you can call it, first family of Maharashtra politics, but also to party cadre, also to NCP, and also to citizens of Baramati and Pune district who are followers of Ajit Pawar and supporters of Ajit Pawar. This will make a huge impact on politics in Western Maharashtra.
Okay, well, there's some news coming in. Rohitji, stay on with me. I'm going to bring in Arunima, where I believe that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, has called the family of Mr. Ajit Pawar and expressed their condolences. Can you just take us over some of those details, Arunima?
Yes, so looks like both the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister have spoken to Devendra Fadnavis. They've had a phone call after confirmation that Ajit Pawar was on that ill-fated charter plane. Both the Prime Minister and the Home Minister have been briefed by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra about whatever information is available at this stage. The information, as being reported by authorities, is that the plane tried to land at Baramati airstrip, but it looked like that the pilot had lost all control and it crash landed, and immediately after the crash landing, the wreckage was on fire. So the Home Minister and the Prime Minister have been given, this briefing, we are told by sources, by the Chief Minister, steps that are being taken to ensure that the Pawar family, whatever help is required to reach Baramati, supporters of Ajit Pawar, family members of Ajit Pawar, Bharatiya Janata Party's alliance partner, Ajit Pawar was in alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So there is a possibility that even though Parliament is in session, senior leadership could be present there when the final rites are carried out. and that briefing by Chief Minister of Maharashtra to Home Minister and Prime Minister has just taken into account as to what can be done currently to just help the Pawar family in this huge hour of grief.
Yes, of course. This is going to have repercussions beyond just the state of Maharashtra and, of course, Baramati. National leaders of parties that have influence nationally. This is a completely different scenario. The last major accident involving a top Maharashtra politician was Gopinath Munde, if my memory serves me right, and Rohit might correct me there, but that was a news that came out of nowhere, and it also spun at that point in time into a major political news event because Mr. Munde was, of course, a very, very influential grassroots leader. So is Ajit Pawar. He's a very influential leader with a wide base, major support base, and, of course, the face of the NCP movement, which now will be, of course, under stress because he had formed his own political party. What happens to that faction? Will there be a reorientation, realignment? Of course, all very premature to talk about all of that right now. But fundamentally, viewers, there are going to be ripples across the political spectrum on the back of this unfortunate event. I want to go straight across to Anvit. Anvit, what are the details that are emerging? You were talking about the make of the aircraft, a special pilots required to have special qualifications to fly the aircraft in question, the Learjet. It's a commercial plane. Many businessmen own it. Many prominent people across the world own it. It flies at great speeds. It's smaller than, of course, normal commercial airliners, but it is a very effective aircraft. And you can see on the left of your screens, huge number of supporters there grieving, mourning the passing of Mr. Ajit Pawar. Anvit, over to you.
Right, Rahul, see, this aircraft is usually used for regional connectivity, and Barmer and Mumbai also have roughly about 250 kilometers of distance, and that is probably why this aircraft was preferred. And we are also learning from the sources that there are certain issues with this aircraft also. And previously, last year there was an accident in Philadelphia also, and there have been incidents in 2005 also, and previously in 2001 as well regarding this particular aircraft. And therefore, there have been warnings that have been issued, and not just one model. This was Learjet 45. There have been warnings on 60, 28 and many other models of Learjet, and mainly the problem was with the landing gear, which probably it's being said that usually either collapsed or malfunctioned while attempting landing, and that is the problem that probably appears to be possibly subject to detailed inquiry though, but because the officials are saying that the incident took place while attempting a landing, so there could be a reason that probably the same defect played in here as well, but that's certainly subject to detailed investigation. Now we are learning from the sources in DGCA and Airport Authority of India that teams will certainly reach the spot, and there will be multiple layers of investigation that will be started, because this is a plane crash. So the team that will reach, they will certainly start with studying the wreckage distribution of the plane which has landed, so which has crash landed. So it will tell them as to in what was the roughly about speed, because FDR will also be, flight data recorder will also be retrieved, and black box will also be retrieved. So it will give information about what actual situation was the aircraft in its last moment. Also a cockpit voice recorder and the conversation of the pilots in the last moment with the ATC, whether they had conveyed that there is a problem with the landing gear, whether they had conveyed any other problem, what was the last moment communication, that also will be looked into. Other than that, entire wreckage distribution will be studied, and topography and weather condition in the last moment will also be read to identify what could have led to this issue, whether any external force led to it, or there could be a technical aspect that led to this crash. So a detailed investigation will be done. We are learning that officers from DGCA will reach there shortly. Mostly local authorities have already reached the spot, and senior officials are also on their way. As far as the aircraft is concerned, it's a small aircraft, 6 to 8 seater. We are being told 5 people were on board. We are being told officially by the DGCA that has issued a statement saying that none of them have survived, and they have also confirmed that Ajit Pawar was on board the plane. Further, if we talk about this incident, we are also learning that probably those who were to take the flight, they were also informed about some technicality on this plane, but that certainly is the details will come on later, and it will be premature to talk about that. But yeah, certainly there have been issues with this aircraft, and this was also a Learjet 45 that took off from Mumbai around 8:10, roughly a distance covering a distance of roughly about 250 kilometers, and around 9:12 it was that ATC was finally informed that the flight has crashed, and it has went up to flames, and none of the 5 on board have survived the crash.
Well, viewers, if you're just tuning in, let me quickly sum up what has been happening before I bring in Rohit Chandrakar and also, of course, Arunima. What you're seeing on your screens, viewers, is a devastating aftermath of a plane crash that has taken place. Learjet has crashed into the firmament in Baramati district of Maharashtra, which also happens to be the home turf of the Pawar family. Aboard this Learjet were 6 individuals, including the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Ajit Pawar. The visuals that you're seeing are of the aftermath of the wreckage. You can still see the wreckage burning in the fields, in the open fields, after the pilot tried to attempt a forced landing. Why this was done, we don't quite know. Was it a technical issue? Was there any other unrelated factor? We can't confirm as of now. But the fuselage pictures show that there's a tail fin which has survived, but the rest of the fuselage, including the engines, just about every other component of this aircraft has been reduced to ashes. We're also being told that all individuals on board, including Mr. Ajit Pawar, have lost their lives in this very unfortunate, devastating air crash, which has shocked the country, coming as it is on the back of another air crash that shook, in fact, all of us, all Indians across the board, when an Air India flight had crashed right after takeoff in Ahmedabad. And these pictures are bringing back those memories and are, of course, flooding our conscience, because air accidents are rare. And when they do happen, usually there are attendant devastating consequences. And here, unfortunately, there are no survivors. Ajit Pawar has passed away this morning. We're being told that at 9:12 this morning, ATS received information of the crash. The plane took off from Mumbai at about 8:10, so about 45 minutes to an hour later, it crashed. And it crashed as it was attempting to land in Baramati. Let me just open this up, because if you've just joined this broadcast, we're being told that the Pawar family is rushing to Baramati. We're showing you pictures from outside the hospital, where, of course, thousands of the Pawar family supporters have congregated to mourn the passing of Ajit Pawar. I also want to bring in Payal, who's reporting on the DGCA aspect of this and the inquiries going forward. And right after, I'll bring in Rohit Chandrakar, senior journalist who knows a lot about Maharashtra and how this is going to perhaps impact not just Maharashtra politics, but national level politics too. Payal, over to you.
Yes, what we do understand, Rahul, from the DGCA is that they're going to be setting up an inquiry as far as that is concerned. And the black box will essentially be holding the key as far as this investigation really goes, to understand what really happened. But what the DGCA has been able to tell us, that right at the start of the runway, there was a crash landing that the aircraft did, and the aircraft was immediately...
As someone who could be a worthy carrying of the NCP tradition as well.
There is a state of shock because of what has happened, and everybody is still coming to terms with the development. What happens next? Once there is any discussion, we will see. I spoke with Supriya Shuleji and Parth Pawar this morning. The entire family will first reach Baramati, and thereafter further decisions of what next will be taken.
घेतले जातील. महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आज शासकीय सुट्टी आम्ही घोषित केलेली आहे.
We have declared an official administrative holiday across Maharashtra today, and 3 days of mourning.
जाहीर करण्यात आलेला आहे. पुढच्या सगळ्या बाबींची कल्पना ही आपल्याला लवकरच देण्यात येईल.
We'll update
पण मला असं वाटतं की
the further proceedings and what next very soon as
अशा प्रकारचे नुकसान आहे.
decision have been arrived at. But this is a loss
महाराष्ट्रातनं असे
which is irreparable.
लोकनेते गेल्यानंतर जी पोकळी तयार होते ती भरून काढणं हे अतिशय कठीण आहे.
To fill this void that has been left behind by Ajit Dada Pawar will be very, very difficult, especially on the political landscape of Maharashtra.
संघर्षाच्या काळात एकत्रित काम केलेलं आहे.
We have worked together through the toughest times.
खरं तर अशा गोष्टीवर विश्वास ठेवायलाच मन तयार होत नाही.
it is difficult to come to terms and even accept that something like this could have come to pass.
जशा ठरतील तसं आपल्याला कळवण्यात येईल.
We will let you know whatever else is now further decided.
महाराष्ट्र के
Fadnavis speaking in Hindi now.
मुख्यमंत्री और जमीन से जुड़े हुए जननेता श्रीमान अजीत दादा पवार, इनका एक विमान के एक्सीडेंट में बहुत ही दुखद निधन हुआ है. इसकी वार्ता आने के बाद समूचे महाराष्ट्र में बहुत ही दुख का वातावरण तैयार हुआ है.
Everybody is in a state of shock, viewers, and what we have tried to do is attempt to try and recreate what actually could have happened, and we have used AI to try and help us recreate the entire flow of events, set of events. This is the Learjet at 8:10 a.m. This Learjet actually carrying Ajit Pawar and 4 others, that includes the 2 pilots, the flight crew and his PSO, took off from Mumbai and headed towards Baramati. His aircraft meeting with an accident just as it was attempting to land. So at 8:45 a.m., the plane crashes in Baramati, and this is just meters away from the landing strip. And it's shocking. The moment the ATC gets the information at 9:12 a.m., but in those minutes it all happened, and eyewitnesses have narrated it that the moment the aircraft was trying to land and it looked like it was going to crash, that's what an eyewitness said. It crashes, it breaks into pieces, but along with that, there are multiple explosions. The explosions are so intense that it also triggers off massive fire, and the ability to try and rescue anybody from that crash was negated. That's what eyewitnesses say. So 8:10 a.m. it takes off, 8:45 a.m. with the attempted landing and crash. And as per sources of the DGCA, they are trying to determine what could have actually happened. ATC receives the official information about the crash at 9:12 a.m. Now the DGCA is now going to go and further have a look at what is or what could have transpired. Clearly, there would have been the cockpit voice recorder, the black box that will be recovered, and also the conversation, the last recorded conversation that the pilots of the aircraft and the co-pilot may have had with the ATC and what they said. Now the Learjet has been in the news recently, of late, the last 2 or 3 years, with respect to landing gear issues. And even in the US, there have been advisories issued to try and check the suitability and also the functioning of the landing gear. Did the aircraft go through its mandatory pre-flight checks? The DGCA is going to now check on that too and investigate that too. The DGCA to News 18 has said on Ajit Pawar's plane crash, saying it is a tabletop runway. The plane crashed on the tip of the runway while attempting landing. That's the word that has come through from the DGCA, and this is further to our confirmation of the pictures that we have received of the crash site. You see that mound, viewers, just at the top of the mound, that's the tabletop runway created, and just at the approach, a few meters away from that tabletop approach, that's where the crash has taken place. So was it failure of the landing gear or something else? It's now subject to investigation. Mayuresh is with us with more details on this. Ankit Srivastava will also be joining us. Yes, Ankit. Anvit. Yes, Anvit. Beg your pardon. Yes, Anvit.
Yes, Anansi, these words have come in from the DGCA, and they're saying that it's a tabletop airport, and that is why, because the periphery is a little lower and the runway is a tabletop runway, and that is what we are being told, that while attempting a landing, the plane crashed on the tip of the runway while attempting the landing. There could be a possibility of a technical glitch as well, whether it was a call taken by the pilot that didn't work, whether it was a technical fault, that is subject to inquiry. But the initial word that coming in from from the DGCA is that this was probably because the touchdown point was not as accurate as it should have been, and that could be possibly a reason. However, a detailed inquiry will be taken up. DGCA teams have already reached the spot. Teams from AIB will also be reaching there shortly, and a detailed study not only of the wreckage from the starting of point of the crash site, but also black box retrieval, the FDR retrieval, also not just flight data recorder will be studied as to analyze the health of the aircraft when it took off and when it was operating, but also to find out what cockpit voice recorder will be taken out to find out what exactly was communicated to the ATC by the pilots and what was the last moment communication, whether any glitch was communicated to the ATC, whether the pilots had called out for the landing gear not functioning or any other technicality that they were looking at. Like you mentioned, and we have come across this fact that NTSB had also issued advisory to the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, asking them to look into the landing gear issues with the this particular Learjet aircraft, and there were a number of series of Learjet aircraft that were in which issues were highlighted previously in the US also, and last year in Philadelphia also a crash had killed 7 people. So Learjet accidents have been not very regular, but yes, certainly this is an old aircraft. It's being used since first it was used in the 60s, and then Bombardier Aviation is the company that it comes under, and this is headquartered in Kansas, US. So it had been used for a longer time, and this aircraft particularly, whether there was any technical glitch in the aircraft, whether there was any mechanical error, that certainly subject to verification, detailed inquiry. But initial word coming in from the DGCA that inquiry has been initiated. All details from the FDR to black box to voice cockpit voice recorder, they all will be looked into. And most importantly, it has been confirmed that this was a tabletop runway. And remember, in Kozhikode also 3 to 4 years ago when incident happened, a number of passengers were killed. That also was a tabletop runway. Most of the runways that in the country that were tabletop have been done away with as substitute runways, and airports have come up in those areas. But this, however, was still functioning, and this is the latest incident that we are seeing that has happened.
Right. Thank you for that, Anvit. Krishna Hegde and Group Captain MJ Vinod is also with us, and we will now have some more details coming through. The Group Captain MJ Vinod, the Learjet is supposed to be a trusted workhorse. Krishna Hegdeji, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena Shinde, with us at this time. But Group Captain MJ Vinod, the Learjet, and also one of the aspects which you're waiting for is the weather conditions. Now, the flight tracker and some of the details that would come through would also indicate whether or not there was fog in Baramati, Pune region. Because it's tabletop, so there is a mount, there's a height to estimation of that, and this Baramati strip is not something which is, last when I checked, has the ILS kind of equipment that assists in landing, radar and sonar based landing, which even in poor visibility perhaps can allow and help pilots to land an aircraft. Please explain this further, Group Captain Vinod.
Thank you, Anand. In fact, in the morning when it happened, I was with Rahul discussing exactly the same thing about this tabletop kind of layout that is there in Baramati, and I've been there many times during COVID times. I remember when Rafales were flying in, I was doing a show with you, and that was at Baramati. So Baramati, and my mom comes from this region. Marathi is my mother tongue, and Ajit Dada was a very beloved leader of this region, and people are really distraught, to say the least. And I just called up my mom, and she was not in a position to talk to me. So that is the kind of connect Ajit Dada has on ground with the people. That said, as you can see on the screen, like you correctly explained, it has a certain slope. And this was a second approach, mind you. And I was looking at the Marathi channels a while ago with some eyewitness saying that before the crash, he saw a ball of fire. If that is true, because eyewitnesses tend to be sometimes exaggerating, if that eyewitness's account is true, then I am looking at, there is only place where there is continuous fire, that is inside the engine.
Right.
And as you can see, Learjet engines are very close to the fuselage, very close to the tail. So an engine fire in a rear Learjet will most certainly lead to fire inside the fuselage as well as control malfunction. Could that be the reason? That is a question I'm throwing open. But
Group Captain Vinod, just quick interrupting you because we've got the entire sequence of events and we'll put that out here at CNN News 18. Now, one, there was a dense fog cover over the Pune-Baramati region and the visibility we are given to understand was extremely low. Point number 2, the Baramati airstrip is a small one. Ajit Dada Pawar had repeatedly actually sent requests that this airstrip should be increased and the length should be increased. It's a small one. It does not have ILS or instrument landing facilities. That instrument landing system facilities it does not have. The pilot had to attempt a manual and visual landing. So you had to actually see the strip, gauge and then work this. So what we are given to understand is that the aircraft did not directly approach the runway. It actually made a large go around because of poor visibility. And then that indicated that the first landing attempt itself was aborted. Then we are given to understand that aligning with the runway during fog actually proved difficult, and because it was tabletop, it's a little height, to make that entire judgment was little difficult. The second attempt, the pilot actually issued a mayday call. So there is confirmation that there is a mayday call that was issued, and according to top DGCA sources, it is a tabletop runway, and during landing the aircraft crashed near the edge of the runway. The balance was lost at approximately 100 feet altitude. At about 100 feet altitude, the balance was lost. The plane hit the ground before being able to even reach the runway. So was the distance from ground misjudged? And was it too late because of the speed of the aircraft to make any correction? Or was there something else? On impact, there was a major explosion and the aircraft split into two. That's what we are given to understand. A severe fire then broke out on the aircraft. There were also several other blasts, smaller explosions, 4 or 5. This is now a confirmation which came even from the eyewitnesses, and it is visible on some of the footage that's been made. And when due to the fire, immediate rescue was not possible. As per the eyewitness, also the same sequence. An investigation into the crash is ongoing. The final cause will be confirmed in the DGCA report. But we are also now given to understand, and sources telling CNN News 18 that Ajit Dada Pawar's mortal remains have been found. His body was thrown out of the aircraft, away from the aircraft upon the first impact. And his body was recognized because of the pink jacket that he was wearing. The family has been informed of the same pink jacket and his watch. That's what we are given to understand. Really sad turn of events. Anvit is still with us. Anvit, now if we look at the entire sequence of events, it was poor visibility. It was poor visibility, it was a tabletop, and the pilot had to make an estimated landing. Could something have gone wrong there? But if you were to corroborate that with the eyewitness, they said that the way the aircraft was coming, it looked like it will crash.
Yeah, and all of these are lethal combinations as far as air safety is concerned, Anand. And because there was dense fog and manual landing was being conducted on that aircraft, so probably they could not exactly identify the length and altitude of the aircraft, and that is why the touchdown point that actually is designated touchdown point, the plane came down much before it, and that is the reason why it bumped into the tip of the aircraft of the runway and then burst into flames. This is what the DGCA has come in from DGCA also, and top officials we have spoken to who will be investigating this entire incident. They have also said that it looks like that it was because of the poor visibility. Initially, the prima facie, it looks like it was because of the poor visibility that the runway touchdown point could not be assessed well by the pilot. So that could be one of the major possibilities. However, they have not ruled out any technical aspects or mechanical failures that could be there in the aircraft, because as we mentioned that Learjet has a history of having issues with the landing gear, and also this VSR aviation, that the company that was being operated, we are learning it was being operated from a former DGCA, and we tried to reach out to them, but they remained unresponsive. And we have also learned that there were certain certain safety measures that were flagged regarding this aircraft. So that is yet to come out. We put this question to DGCA also, but they have said that this is too they are looking into the basic things right now, and this is little too early to comment on that. But that has also come to force. So that also is something which the DGCA is looking into, whether particularly in this aircraft, whether there were any red flags that were issued previously. So whether that were rectified or not, if there was any problem, that is one aspect that is also being looked into. Secondly, a detailed investigation has certainly been already taken up, and teams are there. They will be doing this investigation into phases. First would be that to study the wreckage and the spot. They would identify the topography as well as to what could have led. DGC has already confirmed that it's a tabletop runway, so they'd be looking at the nearby topography as well, whether there could be any external factors to that, be it the wing or be it the weather conditions as well. Secondly, like we said, that FDR, flight data recorder, and black box will certainly tell what the aircraft health was before taking off and before pre-flight maintenance checks were appropriate or not. So that is something will be checked on not only from the aircraft but also from the operator side. Thirdly, they will also look at the cockpit voice recorder. What was the last conversation, not only between the pilot but also if anything was communicated to the air traffic control, whether a mayday call was given, whether it was completely a misjudgment by the pilot. So that will all be recorded in the cockpit voice recorder. So that will also have a possibility of telling the investigator as to what happened the last moments of the aircraft when it crashed. So other than that, there are many other factors to look into: the aircraft health, previous history of the aircraft, the maintenance logs, and since when it has been into the service, what all issues
Did
have
it or
been
did it not
previously.
get a flight readiness? That's the first part. Secondly, was it pure visibility? Now we can say a lot of things. Now this aircraft and this aviation company, has it had another Learjet crash, or has its aircraft been involved in some other crash in the recent past? Tehseen Poonawalla was making raising this concern, saying that our entities who don't have flight readiness or who are having old aircraft which are not ready for this, are they doing it? But we are given to understand that the person flying this was a very senior and experienced pilot, and clearly the sequence very clearly says that if you don't have an instrument landing system at these airstrips, should there be immediate upgradation of such airstrips which are going to be used by politicians, businessmen, people otherwise across the country? Why leave anything to chance? Now these are questions that remain. They have to be answered. But what do you tell the family of the Pawars? What do you tell the family of all those who have been closely associated and those netas who have been closely associated with Ajit Pawar? What do you tell or what do you tell a person who had a vision for Maharashtra and who was at 6 a.m. this morning meeting people because that's his commitment to Maharashtra and work? A fierce administrator, a person who had a no filter within what he thought and what he believed, and someone who lived up to his commitment. We've lost that person. Maharashtra has lost a leader who had a vision and who had ambition, who has lost a leader who was for many days or many trying to do something and trying to get onto the right side of politics, because he was able to read the trend that was being shown within Maharashtra politics and in the mind of the voter. He even had a run-in with his own uncle, who was his mentor, guide, and for whom he was his political legatee in many ways within the state of Maharashtra, because he disagreed with the direction which Sharad Pawar wanted to take and the direction Ajit Pawar wanted to drive NCP into or towards. And that's why the split also happened. We'll talk about all of that. A lot of dreams, a lot of hopes, a lot of plans have come crashing, because that's how death is. It just comes and snatches away, and life then becomes suddenly temporary. Krishna Hegde is with us. Krishna Hegde ji, this is a sad turn of events. Your thoughts?
An extremely sad day for the Pawar family, for Maharashtra, for all Ajit Dada followers. As a legislator, I got a chance to work with him. I'll tell you that I have not met a more punctual, true to his word, people's man, extremely dynamic, with a pulse on the administration, control on the administration. No officer could mislead him. What was in his heart, he spoke it out. He was extremely forthright, gutsy, dynamic, and I think we've all lost a great leader. And apart from that, I must say that he was a very committed person. Whichever work he took up, whichever ministry he worked in, I think he gave it his full, and therefore possibly it's a record now: 6 times deputy CM, 7 times legislator, 1 time member of parliament. I think Ajit Dada has seen it all, and it's such a huge loss, I tell you, for the people of Maharashtra and all his friends and followers, that you cannot comprehend that he is no longer with us, because I still feel he is with us, because he's so lively. He's always working up at 6 o'clock, meeting people, just like his uncle, Sharad Pawarji. And I think whenever you approach him, he is accessible. true to his word, I said very frank. And it's such a shock that this is the third incident which I can recall off my mind right now. It's the Sanjay Gandhi incident, the Madhav Rao Sindhya incident. Now Ajit Dada Pawar, our beloved leader from Maharashtra, is also gone through an air crash, and extremely difficult for all of us.
Right. We also have pictures. We also have pictures of Rohit Pawar, who's clearly in tears, who's upset. Dhananjay Munde has come out and said that I have lost a father. We just have, I think, some images that we have now got, which also will showcase that to our viewers as and when it is ready, of this entire crash site, and the pictures that have come in from the satellite images, which showcase and show. Even on flight tracker and radar, how this aircraft was actually did a go around and made an attempt at landing, but then it actually shows that it couldn't reach that particular point where it had to touch at the airstrip. Now, Group Captain MJ Vinod, you raised your hand to point out something. Yes, please.
Thank you, Anand. For me, the biggest red flag is the Mayday call. And the Mayday call happened after the first approach. So putting two and two together, what happened after first approach and why Mayday call came before the second approach is a question that I'm throwing open. Was the first approach a bulk landing, or something happened post first approach where the Captain Kapoor had to give a Mayday call just before the second approach landing, and they couldn't make it to the runway. So these are, I mean, if you remember that PIA A320 during COVID times, there was a crash, if you remember. It was the first approach going wrong, Mayday call, second approach, they didn't make it. So that is to me, the red flag is Mayday call. Over to you, Anand.
The red flag is a Mayday call. Mamata Banerjee has hurled a big charge. She wants a Supreme Court monitored probe on Ajit Pawar's death. Now, she has actually hinted at foul play. Ajit Pawar wanted to join the opposition ranks. So, sad but true, but politics plays out, viewers. And this is something which the Bengal Chief Minister has come out and said, listen in.
Because they are trying, because of scarcity of the time, PM also traveled by the helicopter and the flight, everybody. So there are so many places which is very far. And so they used to travel by flight, even the commoners also. It is a message for the commoners also. What happened in Ahmedabad and other places also. When yesterday also I came to know that some people went from here to Delhi and their flat condition is so bad. They are destroyed. This cannot continue. Life, safety and security is a first priority.
Now, here Mamata Banerjee is heard saying that life, safety and security is a priority. We'll try and play out the portion where she actually is alleging foul play on the death of Ajit Pawar. Right now, what she's saying is that there have been multiple complaints about flight safety. There are many netas who regularly take flights and choppers, and air travel and air safety must be a priority. It cannot be compromised. Kamalika Sengupta with us. Kamalika, at what point did she actually turn around and say that she smells foul play and sabotage? That's what she is hinting at about Ajit Pawar's death.
Absolutely, Anand. She was on her way to Singur, and then when we asked her about the condolence message of Ajit Pawar, because she has tweeted, and if you remember in her tweet also, she stressed on the point of proper investigation. At that point of time, she said that she is really very shocked with the news of Ajit Pawar's death, and she reiterated that nobody is safe and secured here in India. And adding to that, he said that she said that she has read somewhere in the social media and in other places that some leader of a political party has claimed 2-3 days back that Ajit Pawar will be back to their camp. Now Ajit Pawar now is with the BJP. That's what she said, that he is not with the opposition camp. After this statement by this leader, this incident has happened. That is what she has said. And along with that, immediately she said that what she demands is an investigation, a proper investigation, which should be monitored by the Supreme Court, because she says that if the people of India have faith on Supreme Court, So there should be a court-monitored investigation, a proper investigation by Supreme Court. So clearly, this is some accusation, this is an allegation which Mamata Banerjee is making. She is supposed to go to Delhi. Today she has cancelled the program today of going to Delhi and she has stressed on this point that she has seen that a leader of a political party has made this comment that Ajit Pawar will be back in his own home, and then after that this incident has taken place. So her allegation is this, and she demanded a Supreme Court monitored investigation.
Right. Thank you for that, Kamalika. We'll come back to that. This is not the time to play politics, but why Mamata Banerjee has said something like that, we'll have to wait and watch. But here's what's happened. Now, this is the flight tracker imagery, and we'll try and recue this, viewers. From Mumbai, it takes off at 8:10 a.m., and that's the LJ-45, Learjet 45, flying from Baramati towards Baramati. And this is what we mentioned in the sequence. It does a wide go around as it is approaching the Baramati airstrip. It does a wide go around. This is the red color plane. That is the Learjet 45. It is making its approach from Mumbai over Pimpri Chinchwad and Pune and moving towards the Baramati region. As it comes here, it is making a wide go around. Now, was this because there was fog, poor visibility here? The other question is, if it was fog and poor visibility, why did the pilot decide to make the approach here and not go back to Pune and land in Pune? That's a question. And was there any communication to that effect with the air traffic control? That's again subject to investigation. So here's the sequence. It confirms the sequence that the aircraft approaches Baramati airstrip, the tabletop airstrip. Then it makes a wide go around. This is the LJ-45, Learjet 45. That's the call sign. It takes a wide go around and then swings back in to try and land here. And when it swings back, as it is approaching the tabletop, just a few meters away from the landing strip, it crashes and it explodes. It breaks into two, it explodes. There are multiple small explosions. It catches fire. The flames are so intense that the people who are waiting for Ajit Pawar to land and to welcome him, they are all watching. They were all recording, and they run towards across the strip towards that particular position where the crash happened, and they were not able to rescue anybody. They weren't able to save anybody. 5 people on board. Ajit Pawar was actually thrown out of the aircraft. He's wearing that light pink jacket as he's leaving. This morning, 6 a.m. to 8:10 a.m., he was meeting people, and then that picture image of his is there wearing a light pink jacket. His mortal remains were recognized by the people and also the rescue officials because his body reportedly was thrown out at the first impact. And that's how they have now been able to recognize Ajit Dada Pawar among the 5, a lot of whom their bodies have been very badly charred, but Ajit Pawar being recognized. Group Captain MJ Vinod with us. Group Captain MJ Vinod, if we were to look at this entire flight radar, the track of LJ-45, it makes quite a wide go around. Now, there are 2 questions that remain. One, if landing visibility was poor and it had to be a manual and visual landing, why did the aircraft not attempt to return to Pune for safety because it was poor visibility? Or would you attach more importance to the Mayday call and something went wrong as the approach was being made?
Absolutely, Anand. In fact, I went through the entire data, both vertically as well as longitudinally. And at 139 knots, which is the approach speed for this aeroplane, and this is fair, mind you, it's a fairly high-speed aeroplane. It goes at 0.81 Mach, goes to 51,000 feet and travels 4,000 miles. So it's a very capable aeroplane, and only 5 crashes of Learjet in the history of Learjet. This is the second Learjet 45 crash. One was, I believe, in 2011, which was somewhere in Brazil. So this aeroplane has had a wonderful safety record. VSR has wonderful safety record. That said, when I looked at the first aspect of first approach, I mean, that is when I stuck my neck out and told you that did something go wrong in that first approach where he had to go around and issue a Mayday call. Remember, we pilots don't issue a Mayday call unless it is in a grave emergency. So grave emergency includes, even for an engine failure, Anand, for a simple engine failure, not associated with fire, we don't issue Mayday call. We issue something called a PAN call. So urgency call it is called. So we issue Mayday call when it really warrants that kind of the nature of emergency is so severe. That is why I said that is my red flag. And that happened immediately after the first go round. So my question was whether something happened during the landing which led to this. Fog could have been the reason. Cannot be ruled out. And the crash happened, like you said, on the slope of the tabletop. And the tabletop has a very peculiar nature of weather affecting it. The entire fog, um, which looks like a low cloud for a person who is standing on the ground, for the tabletop runway, it is a fog because this low cloud is now touching the ground on the tabletop. Therefore, it becomes fog on the runway. So you may see the ground, but the tabletop runway may not be visible. Many a times I've seen this in both in Kozhikode and as well as in Mangalore. So it's a very, very typical scenario for a tabletop, especially when the weather is chips are down, the weather is bad. So which is why
this is Akanksha going to request you to continue staying with me. We speak at a very tragic hour, but we will continue with this discussion. But first up, let's also break down for all our viewers who are currently tuning into CNN News 18. The country has woken up to a deeply tragic news of the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar, passing away. But let's also bring you the details before we continue with that discussion. As far as the details of Ajit Pawar's plane are concerned, it was a mid-size business jet that was manufactured by Bombardier Aerospace. It has a maximum range of 2,194 nautical miles. It can fly up to 51,000 feet. Its maximum cruise speed is of 465 knots. It can seat up to 9 passengers. It's powered by 2 Honeywell turbofan engines. Let me quickly, bring in my guests. I'm also joined in by Mr. Krishna Hegde, Yesha Kotak and Arun Dhanta. Our correspondence continues to stay with us. But I want to quickly go back to Captain MJ Vinod. Captain Vinod, on that note of the make of this LJ-45 aircraft, you were also talking about how it has a clean reputation. Only 5 aircraft crashes so far that go down in its history. What are those factors currently that are vexing us about this crash?
Yeah, like I was saying, Akanksha, LJ-45s, this is the second crash, in fact. The entire Learjet family, there have been only 5 crashes. So for an aeroplane which is of 1990 vintage, and this particular aeroplane is 16-year-old aeroplane, not very old in terms of aeroplane standards, crashes are very unheard of in this aeroplane. And there are 2 very safe operating engines that power this aeroplane. So Honeywell engines. So, I mean, all put together, and mind you, Baramati does not have ILS. And Ajit Dada has been requesting all and sundry for extension of the runway and also installing instrument landing facilities on the runway. A lot of flying training activity happens in Baramati, and which is the reason I was there for a while to put my daughter there. So I'm very, very well versed with this region. I think in a war footing that might happen,
right?
But then the damage is done. Particularly about this crash, as you can see on the screen, the right engine is completely intact and the left engine is completely gone. That and the Mayday call.
Damage done, that too at what cost? I mean, the entire nation is in a state of shock. If I may quickly bring in Mr. Hegde also on that note. Krishna Hegde, you'll perhaps be able to also shed light on the kind of legacy he leaves behind. Many are also talking about how he leaves with an unfulfilled desire of not being able to make it to the chief ministerial position. But I think today we must recall him as the man who held the maximum positions as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra and even had the largest to vacate a seat for his uncle.
No, obviously, if you look at him since he was a young man, I think he first became a member of parliament and then went on to be a legislator 7 times. I think he was a minister already 5 times in the cabinet. He was the deputy CM 6 times. Both minister 6 times, deputy CM 6 times, and I think itself is a record. And more than that, it's the work he's done for Pimpri Chinchwad, for Pune, for Baramati. So all the people of the area, he's actually a Dada. So Dada means elder brother, and they gave him a mandate. His party NCP swept the polls in the local body elections also along with us. He was firmly part of the Mahayuti. You know, it was very unfortunate that Mamta Didi made such an allegation now within a couple of hours, especially when the DGCA is inquiring into this accident, and also the state government may also, have an inquiry on this. We have to find out
And perhaps,
whether it
Krishna
was
Hegde, it's
maintenance.
only the beginning of the kind of politicization we are seeing, and that's just one voice coming in from the opposition. But I'm going to quickly go across to our correspondents, Arun and Yesha also continue to stay with us. So Arun, quickly coming to you first for the latest updates in terms of Mr. Pawar's mortal remains. What can you tell us? Remember, we were told that his wife and son Parth were in the national capital when the tragic accident took place, and they were all set to leave for Baramati, as was his cousin Supriya Sule. What can you tell us? All right, we seem to be having some audio issue with Arun. If you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes. Right, you rightly said, Kanksha, that Parth Pawar and Sunitra Pawar both were in Delhi. They were here at Sharad Pawar's residence, where we are standing at this point, along with Supriya Sule. And the moment news came, within half an hour, we saw entire family leaving from this residence towards the airport. And in a short while from now, we'll be seeing that they will be reaching in Baramati. Of course, we know that there was this acrimony in the family, especially during the 2024 polls when Supriya Sule had to contest against Sunitra Pawar there, which later on, in fact, Ajit Pawar said that he made a mistake by pitting Sunitra against Supriya Sule, but still they had this family bond there. We did not hear Ajit Pawar saying anything against Supriya Sule or Sharad Pawar during this period, which showed the strength amongst the family members. Now, as we speak, of course, the state mourning has been announced in Maharashtra. We just heard the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, saying that he, along with Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, will be traveling to Baramati. They will be staying there, and then, of course, he will be speaking to family. Then the further course of action will be decided. We are also given to understand that some senior leaders from Delhi of the BJP will be traveling there to Baramati to offer their last respects. We'll have to see who's going to be there, whether Amit Shah, JP Nadda or somebody else. There's no confirmation on that, but we're given to understand somebody from the BJP will be going there, Baramati, and offering their last respects to the family members. And also, of course, we know, Kanksha, the kind of leader Ajit Pawar was. He was somebody who would always, speak blunt, but he was very much, understandable with the fact as to what is the requirement of the people. His only motive was to work for the people, and therefore he would always, tell his cadres there what is important is to ensure that the people in Baramati, his constituency, and Maharashtra should get all the benefits, and therefore he's been speaking about that also.
Absolutely, and that is in fact amply evident from the kind of reactions that are coming in soon after that crash even happened. You can hear the wails in the background, and that in itself speaks of the loss that not just Baramati but the entire nation is currently experiencing. On that note, let me quickly bring in Yesha Kotak also. Yesha, we heard Chief Minister Fadnavis also put out that word as he mourned his demise. He said that Dada was a man of his word. And give us a sense of the kind of reactions that are now coming in from within the Mahayuti alliance.
Absolutely. In fact, when we speak of this, it is something that none of the people in Maharashtra, in fact, had expected to come by, and that's how death leaves you. But when it comes to the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, for that matter, Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, all of them have gone ahead to speak of Ajit Pawar as being someone who was like an elder brother to them. Clearly, like we've been discussing, he was called Dada fondly by everyone in Maharashtra, and Dada clearly means elder brother. When we speak of Devendra Fadnavis, he's also said that there'll be a thorough inquiry that will take place, and all the state events today have been cancelled. The public holiday has been declared. 3 days of state mourning has been declared. We'd also expect the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister to be heading to Baramati very soon after discussing with the family as to how things have to proceed further. Meanwhile, also we've seen that Sharad Pawar, who was in fact the founder of NCP or mentor to Ajit Pawar, his family is also left from Mumbai to head towards Baramati. Everyone who's worked closely with Ajit Pawar, because of the kind of statesmanship that he would show, because of the kind of political acumen that he would show, and the kind of grassroots connect that he had, he was someone who's close to all the parties, be the Mahayuti, for that matter, Mahavikas Aghadi. Not only the Mahayuti, we've also seen leaders from Mahavikas Aghadi come forward and also pay tributes to him because of the basic ground level foundation that he displayed.
All right.
And that has been quite evident from the fact that Baramatikars who were present at that moment have come and spoken about it, or for that matter, even leaders who were working with NCP have said that they've lost their father, when it comes to Ajit Pawar. Yes, Akash.
All right, stay with me, Yesha, Mr. Hegde, and also going to request Arun to continue staying with us. Remember, the DGCA has already started its inquiry, but what will be the trajectory of that inquiry here is what they will be focusing on. First and foremost, there's going to be the examination of the flight data, which of course is going to come out of the black box. And there's going to be the analysis of the cockpit voice recorder. Then there's going to be the review of the last communications that took place and the Mayday call. As just Captain MJ Vinod was highlighting that why was there a Mayday call placed after the first approach that had already failed. There's also going to be a study of the wreckage distribution at the same time. There's going to be a study of the topography and the weather conditions under which that second approach was made, which actually ended up into that plane crash. Let's quickly go back to, in fact, Arun and Mr. Hegde also continue to stay with us. So, Mr. Hegde, I want to also quickly bring in a word in terms of the message that's been sent out. We heard what Prime Minister Modi also had to say, that he was a very strong leader, someone who had a grassroots connect with the people of Maharashtra. What is this going to mean now with this tragic sudden passing now for the overall standing of the alliance at the moment?
The alliance is strong. It is intact. We are the Mahayuti. We are running the government smoothly. We have won the last 4 elections as well. But I think I should not be talking about it today because it's a very sad day.
Right.
To
focus also on his grassroots connect with the people of Maharashtra, something that has been alluded by Prime Minister Modi also.
Yeah, I can speak about, his grassroots connect. Obviously, to win 8 elections or 9 elections at a stretch is not a joke. He knew everyone in every district. He knew everyone in every taluka. He knew Krishna, though he was in Baramati, he knew what Krishna Hegde is doing in Vileparle, in Mumbai. And this is not now, but he knew this in 2009 or 2008. And not only that, I think he picked up people from taluka level, he picked up people from district level and made them MLAs. He made them ministers. He actually backed them to the hilt. There are so many people, whether it's Sunil Shelke in Lonavala, whether it is Dhananjay Munde, who later became a minister, and I know this personally also, that he gave them all the backing wherever it is required. He gave them all the strength. He gave them the funds in his constituency. So that way, he was a very large-hearted man. And therefore, every nook and corner, whether we are from a different party, whether we are from a different alliance, whether we have worked with him directly or not, everyone not only loves but also respects Dada.
Okay. Let me quickly bring in Arun Dhanta also on that note. Arun, the politicization also has begun with, in fact, Mamata Banerjee also launching that scathing attack. Now you're also getting in a word from Lalu Prasad Yadav, who's saying that there should be a high-level investigation. Mamata Banerjee also said that there should be a Supreme Court monitored investigation. What is the word that you're getting in from the opposition side?
Well, see, Kanksha, this is very unfortunate that at this point when everyone is mourning the death of Ajit Pawar, these sort of statements are coming out. These, of course, statements can be made later on if there is an investigation, which will, of course, be done. DGCA has already launched an investigation in the entire front, can be done. But right now, what is important is that you need to show that solidarity and, of course, the condolences to the family member. It's a huge, huge, huge loss, not only to the Maharashtra politics, but to the nation's politics. Ajit Pawar, of course, we know, I myself had visited Baramati. The kind of work that he has done there in that area is significant, and that's the reason why you will see it has always reflected in the elections. He was 7 or 8 time MLA from Baramati and 6 times deputy chief minister. He was somebody who would always talk straight. He was early riser. When I was speaking to a few of the NCP cadres, they were saying that Dada would wake up early in the morning at 6. The first thing which he would do, he would call people, his associates, to check about the day's development, what can be done, what is happening. He was a 24/7 politician, Akanksha, and we have seen that happening. His politics has seen ups and downs in past couple of years. We saw that he took the responsibility of his family in a very early age because of his father's death, and the way he groomed this entire constituency there for the NCP and for himself. That's something which is significant, and that's the reason why you see that there was this unprecedented support which he was getting every time in the elections from the Baramati side. And he's been a very, very shrewd, clever politician. He knew how to move forward in the politics, and even when he made that call by pitting his wife against Supriya Sule was something which he later on regretted, saying that I shouldn't have done this. We discussed this earlier, that he maintained this family decorum all the while, even when they had this run-in amongst the family. And also, of course, the way he took forward the mantle of the NCP when that separation happened with Sharad Pawar. So he was, of course, a tallest leader in Maharashtra's politics. He wouldn't speak much. He wouldn't give interviews to media because he was very clear as to what he wanted to achieve, and that's what he has done. That's what he has shown, and that's why you see that the messages of condolences pouring in from across the country, from the likes of Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah. People from every party are coming out and praising him, the works that he has done, the kind of politics that he has done.
Yes, absolutely. Krishna Hegde also continues to be with us. Krishna Hegde, Shivani Gupta this side from the studio. My colleagues Arun Dhata and Yesha also tracking the latest from Maharashtra. This is, of course, an extremely upsetting, shocking, turn of events. But are you also shocked and dismayed at some of the political commentary that is happening so soon after Ajit Pawar's death? I mean, there are already speculations over cause, reasoning, plus what happens to his faction of the NCP.
Is it for me?
Yes, Krishna Hegde, go ahead.
No, I am dismayed that they are commenting on such things so insensitively, to put the right word. And I must say that Ajit Pawar was a very sensitive man. He knew the quality of the workers. I can narrate an incident which happened with me. So I was a legislator and he was the deputy chief minister, and there was the inauguration of the Terminal 2 flyover in the Mumbai airport, the new airport. And in the morning, I got around 5,000 people there for the program. The program was to start at 10 a.m. And when the CM and deputy CM came, I was sitting next to him, and he said, "How did you manage to shift 1,200 houses and rehabilitate them?" And I told him the whole story, and he said, "You, Hegde, winning from a hardcore Maharashtrian and a Gujarati constituency like Vile Parle, how did you do it?" I spoke to him. He said, as a kid, I used to come to Vile Parle. So I said, I am very much aware that you used to come to Vile Parle. And at that time, Sharad Pawar Saab's elder sister, Saroj Tai Patil, had a school which was, the school was in the next compound as my building. And he said that I used to come to her house and visit her. I said, I'm very well aware. And I said, Saroj Tai is like a family and like a mother to me. And he said, no, she is like a mother to all of us. and this and that. And then it happened that the administration, on that day, though I had done most of the project with the administration, they all the speakers were someone else. And when Ajit Dada got to know, he called the, I don't want to name, but he called the MMRDA commissioner and he said, Krishna Hegde has worked so hard on it and he should address the gathering.
Right.
And he was the person who gave me the chance to speak. And there are very few leaders, who understand a worker or a karyakarta. And I think this is the greatness of Ajit Dada, that, I said, he's from another party, but still, he understood what I did and what effort I had put. And I think these are great leaders. They don't come, all the time.
Yeah. No, interesting this anecdote that you're sharing. I also want to quickly go across to my colleague Yesha. Yesha, just for the benefit of the viewers still just joining us, give me a sense of the first reactions from the family of Ajit Pawar, and also what are you learning from Baramati? What follows from here? What arrangements are being made?
Absolutely. In fact, when we speak of the first reaction that comes in, we've of course, seen Supriya Sule, who's a cousin of Ajit Pawar, put a post saying she's devastated. That's the reaction that has come in. When it comes to Supriya Sule, Sunitha Pawar, who is the wife of Ajit Pawar, Bharat Pawar, who's the son of Ajit Pawar, they were all in Delhi when this incident really took place. All of them have headed towards Baramati. So far, none of them have come on record to speak about this, except this one post by Supriya Sule, which just reads devastated. Apart from that, when it comes to Sharad Pawar, who's been the mentor of Ajit Pawar, he, because we clearly know he is 80 plus years in the age. He was first taken to the hospital, doctors were spoken about, and then the news was broken about Ajit Pawar's death to him. Even he has headed to Baramati now, so in say an hour or two, we'd expect the entire family to be at Baramati, following which then is where the further stock of situation will be taken and the family will decide as to next course of action.
Just stay with me. We're getting these live visuals. We can take them a little bit bigger on our screen. There's a lot of police presence. Those are live visuals coming in from Baramati. You can see a large crowd that has gathered there. There's a lot of police personnel, but I think those close to Ajit Pawar are already coming in. There are many who have their hands folded and they have tears in their eyes. These are the scenes that we are seeing right now. We do know that there was already a very large crowd that had assembled outside the local hospital in Baramati, where the bodies of those who died in this tragic crash were taken first. You can see the ambulances, etc., also coming in. But this is where the family of Ajit Pawar, the extended family, of course, of Sharad Pawar and others will be coming to. There are 5 individuals in total who have died as far as this crash is concerned. There was a PSO with Ajit Pawar. There were also crew and 2 pilots on that flight, that ill-fated flight. Asif Bamla is joining us. Asif Bamla, your first response and reaction to what has transpired.
Hello.
Yes, Asif Bamla, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
It's a very sad moment for Maharashtra, and of course a personal loss to me personally, because I have worked very closely with him for more than 20 years while I was in the NCP. I was spokesperson for the party. I was the national spokesperson, and some person who used to be on a very regular interaction with us, no matter at that point in time he was not the deputy CM, he was the finance minister then, but always a man who was very वो कहते हैं ना बाहर से जितनी सख्त थे उतने ही अंदर से नम दिल इंसान थे, एंड मेरा तो उनसे बहुत सालों का मतलब a people's person, you can say, someone who always if there was some issue, because I fought the election also at that point in time, the MLA election from the NCP when I was in the party then. So even at the helm and the midst of the election, whenever there was any issue, whenever there was a panic situation, and if you called him at that point in time, a leader that was receptive, knowing that we belonged to the party and we were the party candidate, though himself he was also contesting. So he was a leader par excellence, a man who shared fabulous camaraderie, a man who was available at, all the good instance of the great Sharad Pawar Sahab were embedded very well in him, to the extent that he was a very time conscious man. Like he inherited a lot from Pawar Sahab, and that was his that was the goodness, and that's why he was more a leader of the Gramin Bhag, I mean, people, though we were in the Mumbai city, so he used to always exhibit that his concern was more, क्योंकि वो हमेशा कहते थे कि मुंबई एक इतना बड़ा विशाल शहर है, इसमें तो बहुत सारे नेता हैं, इसमें बहुत काम करने के लिए आपको लोकल लेवल पर भी बड़ा सहयोग मिलेगा, लेकिन ग्रामीण भाग का जो, चाहे वो किसान हो या मागा स्वर्गीय समाज हो या इस किस्म का जो था, उनके प्रति उनका रुझान बहुत रहा करता था. एंड ऑफ कोर्स फॉर माय, बिकॉज वी वर्क वेरी क्लोज इन एनवायरनमेंट, एंड his wife Sunitra Pawar also has worked a lot, so we've done a campaign together also. And she,
but tell me,
because his
Asif
wife was-
Amla, although this is a very delicate situation, but already because these conversations are taking place, so I have to ask you this, because you've been part of the NCP earlier and worked closely with him. Does anything change on ground because of his demise? The political speculations that are ongoing?
Well, on ground, I'm sure, because again, I mean, a leader was a vast experience, whom the party, not only leaders, ministers, parliamentarians, MLAs, or corporators or nagar adhyakshes correlate with him, with the comfort with which they could, they could speak to him, reach out to him. I'm sure to immediately have an identification, a replacement of that, I may say a stalwart who had the knowledge, जिनको जमीन की जानकारी थी, और कहते हैं 24/7 who was available. So for now, I think it's going to be a little tight situation, but and someone like Ajit Dada, I don't see an immediate replacement so far. I hope there is a
But
replacement.
what happens to the NCP that he held versus... All right, we're getting the first access to some CCTV visuals that have captured the crash of Ajit Pawar's plane and the one that was carrying 4 others. This is seemingly a roadside CCTV that has captured the moment of the crash. Of course, this happened in Baramati. The circumstances in which this aircraft crashed are now a subject of investigation. But you can see that large plume of fire and smoke that is the moment of the crash that has been caught on a nearby roadside CCTV. It has happened close to what looks like a highway. There are there is not just traffic on that highway, but also seemingly certain other establishments, possibly a petrol pump or something like that. Some shops that are also visible, but clearly this is one of the first CCTV visuals that have come to light after this crash has taken place. A large fire engulfing that area and a cloud of smoke from the ground as well. Let's just play this for our viewers on our big wall here as well. As you can see, the time captured on the CCTV is around 8:46 in the morning. Exact time, at least as far as this CCTV footage is concerned, 8:46. I don't know how accurate that is otherwise. But yes, you can see at the top of your screen, just behind this roadside shack or shop, there is a large smoke, a cloud of smoke and fire that engulfs. And now this is why it gets very, very problematic in aircraft's crashes, because it's not just the crash, it is also the fire that follows that makes it very, very difficult for those on board to survive, because it engulfs you immediately. There is a lot of fuel on any aircraft which is taking a journey. And then, of course, crashing in these circumstances, it doesn't really leave much room for anyone either to be saved or to walk out of such a situation alive. There was public around clearly, which is why we have accessed very, visuals very soon after the crash. In fact, people have managed to capture the wreckage of the plane while it was still engulfed in fire, and that's because it wasn't too far from a major road, a highway of some sort, and also a lot of people nearby, which is why the moments right after the crash have also been captured. But this CCTV captures very prominently the moment of the crash, with the large fire engulfing the crashed aircraft and the plume of smoke as well. Now, what was the reason for this crash is going to be very, very important to watch out for, because this isn't the first of its kind. We've seen certain very tragic crashes take place, whether it's a light aircraft or a chopper, where several prominent personalities, especially politicians, have been lost in India. But Yesha continues to be with us. Yesha, the CCTV captures the moment of the crash. I'm not sure how much clues this CCTV footage would be able to give as far as investigators is concerned, but the moment of the crash and the aftermath being captured very clearly in this one.
Absolutely, and like we've been speaking about, this was in fact a tabletop crash. Now that we've seen the CCTV footage, the initial information spoke about how the aircraft, the helicopter was trying to land first, and then it had to take a turn and come back to exactly the spot where landing took place. I think this was a tabletop. This was a tabletop landing, and considering that Ajit Pawar had been someone who ILS system to be installed at this place, is where preliminary information is coming in about the crash. But now that we've seen the CCTV footage, just a couple of feet before the take place, we've seen the aircraft has in fact crash landed at that very spot, and then you see the entire aircraft going up in flames. This speaks of kind of a damage that has been caused to the aircraft at that very moment. And this is in fact the first CCTV that we see. The timing in the CCTV is shown to be around 8:46. When the crash is taking place. Following which, as far as information from ATC is concerned, they got a call at around 9:12 about this incident. So clearly, this speaks of the time limit from when this very crash took place. Initial first visual coming in, it is in fact a visual taken from far from the highway around Baramati, because this very crash, that we speak of, had taken place.
So, Yesha, just stay with me. I've got Dr. Vandana Singh, who's chairperson of Aviation Cargo Federation of the Aviation Industry in India. The flight took off at 8:10. The CCTV captures the flight going down at 8:46. So, roughly 36 minutes later. And a few minutes later, the ATC was informed about the crash. But looking at this footage or the timeline, clearly the plane had reached Baramati. It was set to land. In fact, there are also certain information that it already attempted a landing before this. What your first sense of what could have gone wrong?
Thank you, ma'am, for having me on your show. Firstly, a very, very tragic incident where we have lost 6 lives, including Shri Pawar. Now, Baramati strip is essentially a tabletop runway, which is essentially meaning elevated, right? Now, in this case, very clearly, the pilot attempted a first approach, and the pilot said negative when it came to visibility. So the first approach, pilot said negative. The captain said negative. Then a second approach was tried. When the second approach was tried, then there was a mayday call. A mayday call only happens when there is a serious, threat or technical, mechanical, electrical, whatever it may be. But there was a mayday call. So first a negative, which meaning that was the runway visible? The answer was no. The answer was negative. So still there was a cloud, there was a sunburst, and the pilot took another turn and came back to land. And then there was a mayday call, and then you can see this aircraft now clearly going into a huge ball of flame. Uh, uh, Obviously, there was so much fuel there because the equipment had to return back from Baramati to Mumbai. There was no question of there was no facility for refueling over there, and it burst into flames, and obviously all the bodies got charred. So this is how this is what it is. Of course, we need to see what the wind shear factor was at that time. But then the Learjet 45 is a very stable, very good, very efficient aircraft. This had a life already of 15 or 16 years, if I'm not wrong, and has been known to be flying a lot of dignitaries, VIPs, all sorts of movements here. But unfortunately, all 6 lives gone on this second approach to the stable top runway.
Can I
and
ask
it did
you,
not come on the run.
Dr. Vandana,
Yes.
can I ask you, if you look at the CCTV footage or you look at the footages that people have managed to shoot right in the aftermath of this crash, the visibility doesn't seem to be too bad. Otherwise, it would be quite obvious in the CCTV as well, if the visibility was so bad that a plane couldn't land. Your thoughts, because the visuals seem to be pretty clear. So is it visibility alone that could have been a factor?
See, there are two things to that. So once, if you're looking at the weather, it says hazy with a bit of sunburst here or there. So it was not that bad. You can see it over there. But when the pilot was asked, and when the second attempt was made, the aircraft clearly veered off the runway. It has gone nowhere near the tabletop runway. It's veered off, and it has gone and burst into flames and crashed. You can clearly see over there. If that be the case, then obviously it is clear that this is A, visibility, B, wind shear, and C, if the Mayday call was made, then there was something definitely wrong when it comes to what the pilot was trying to communicate. Was it technical? Was it mechanical? Was it electrical? Remains to be seen now that the black box and the CVAR have been recovered. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. What we do know is that the AIB has begun its investigation. Their team is now en route to Baramati. But Vandanaji, I do want to ask you one more thing. Are there any, apart from the tabletop runway, are there any other peculiarities or certain technicalities available or not available that could have also lent to this situation? Any other fail-safe guiding systems that are usually employed in such situations? Because clearly planes do land in much worse visibility or fog situation than this one, because the footages are pretty clear of the moment of the crash itself as well. So is there something that certain smaller airports or runways or strips don't have that is generally used to guide certain landings?
No, not really. Firstly, they are all well managed. Either they are managed by, of course, DGCA is looking into all of it. Otherwise, they are managed by the Indian Air Force. As we know, a lot of airports are managed by them. When it comes to Baramati, this is absolutely a tabletop runway. Tabletop runway essentially means elevated. So if it's elevated, there is a certain way to approach it, and there's a certain way to land on it. And I'm sure the pilot here was very well trained to do so. Now, what went inside, why the Mayday call was made, and why the first approach there was a negative to actually seeing the runway, which means the visibility remains to be seen. And then obviously it didn't go there. It veered or steered clearly away from the runway.
Yes.
And crashed into stony structures, which could have also led to the impact, because it was not such a huge equipment. It was a Learjet 45 and carrying 6 passengers. So obviously the impact could have also made the difference, plus the fuel in it, because it was meant to come back and it went into flames. So all of these factors combined need to be looked into to come up with a conclusion while they check on the black box and the CVR.
Yes, and that investigation will obviously take place now. But just for the benefit of our viewers, let's break down what we do know so far as the situation on ground is concerned and how the events unfolded. So clearly, first up, it is being said that there was low visibility due to dense fog. That is the situational understanding of what really happened when the plane was wanting to land at Baramati. The pilot that attempted a manual visual landing is what we are told, but there was no ILS landing system at the Baramati airstrip. The aircraft fails to line up with the runway, which is very clear because Clearly, even in the second attempt, it wasn't close to the runway or on the runway. The landing attempt, the first one was then aborted, a wide turn was made, but we are being told, at least as of now, of course, final official word will come after investigation, that the fog hampered the runway realignment. Even on reapproach, the second landing attempt that was made by the pilot also did not go according to plan. The plane pilot is then said to have made a mayday call. So clearly, something was going very awry even as the pilot was attempting a second landing. What could that have been? Was it visibility issues alone or something else? Remains to be seen, because even if there were visibility issues, the plane could have veered off again and taken a wide turn again. But why was it not able to do so? Was it already too low? Because we are being told that the aircraft lost stability at about 100 feet. The plane then descended short of the runway, and then, of course, as the visuals behind me show, it completely split apart, broke into wreckage on impact as is expected, and was also immediately engulfed in flames. So, Dr. Vanna, I come back to you one more time before I go to our other guests as well. No ILS landing at Baramati Strip. What does that mean? Please elaborate for the benefit of our viewers. And also, if the plane lost stability at about 100 feet, was it too low already for the pilot to make some sort of a wide turn again? Or at this stage, if the mayday call was made, does it indicate something else than visibility issues?
First of all, yes, it could indicate something more than the visibility issues. Let's go with the findings as well as they're coming step by step, like you just said. First thing is that on first approach, the pilot was clear on saying negative, meaning the visibility was not there, right? But the pilot did try with the second approach. This is very clear. And when it tried with the second approach, now just on 100 feet away, it's too low to really veer off or steer off or try to make a third attempt. That was not possible. Plus the mayday call, meaning something went actually wrong inside, which the black box and the voice recorder CVR will reveal. And last but not the least, when you talk about instrument landing system, if it's not there, especially on a tabletop runway, so the pilot cannot be actually guided in a sort of a manual form to make a landing. That could be the difference. But in this case, there was no ILS. But even without ILS, the pilot could have managed. Now, my thoughts are going to why the mayday call was made. Now, obviously, if the pilot could have managed a third attempt or would have taken off because it had enough fuel, the pilot would have done so. But something went wrong inside as well, other than the visibility.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yes, thank you so much for breaking that down. Asif Vamla, leader of the BJP, and Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, also continue to be with us. Yes, Lokesh, I'll come to you for your first thoughts on what has transpired.
I would say it's a political earthquake. It's a huge tragedy for Maharashtra. If you talk about Ajit Pawar ji, he was a stalwart, a mass leader, a 7 times MLA, a parliamentarian, former minister. He was an institution. You talk about Western Maharashtra, right from the entire belt, even Marathwada. That was an area where Ajit Pawar ji was a political center. He was the one connecting the Zilla Parishads, the local Gram Sabha up till the Legislative Assembly, connecting the sugar cooperatives, the industries. He was the leader of the masses, accessible to all. In fact, this visit was also related to the local elections that were to be due in Baramati region. I would say it's a huge tragedy for entire Maharashtra. It leaves a political vacuum because such a leader of such a stature, such a legacy, such a form of a connect is not there in Maharashtra anymore. And there are lots of regions where there would be a complete chaos in the time to come, because the kind of connect this leader had to the grassroots level is something that is not to be seen with any of other person in the party's line. So it's a big loss for Maharashtra. It's a big loss, and there is indeed a huge political vacuum in the entire Western Maharashtra region.
Yes, absolutely. Certainly a very old school politician, someone who was very connected to the ground. As you said, one wonders if there are more such leaders on ground who can, really take on the mantle that Ajit Pawar had. I'm also joined by Majid Menon, in fact, who's a senior advocate, has been associated with the NCP in the past as well. Your first thoughts, Majid Menon?
Well, this morning, this devastating news has shattered entire Maharashtra, or for that matter, even the entire country. We have received the prompt messages from the Prime Minister and all national leaders as well. This man was a very dynamic political leader, very rare, you see, of his type we are seeing these days. He was a grassroots man, and he was working with the workers in so close contact that certainly his sudden going away is a loss for every individual uh, Maharashtrian. Now, it is not just a loss to NCP of Ajit Pawar, but it is a loss to entire Maharashtra politics. It would just, this sudden passage of this man would certainly upside down change the political future of Maharashtra. Because now, as we all know, that before and after corporation elections, there were talks that probably he would join back his uncle, the main mentor and the former of the NCP party originally. But then, you see, people were expecting that very soon we will hear the merger of the two NCPs and it will again emerge strong under the dynamic guidance of senior Sharad Pawar. But then this was not to be. Fate had something else in the store.
Just hold your thought. Just hold your thought, Majid Memon, because I know a lot of people are speculating about that, whether a merger was really on cards. Just hold your thought. We're getting some fresh visuals. I'm told these are visuals